Does it work? Are we live? Maybe. This is my first time using the Zoom app. Oh, look, I've got a freaking delay. Let me turn the volume down. That's no good. So I'm homesick from work. Happy Monday to you. I've got a splitting ass headache. It really hurts. I'm not having any fun. But I thought while I had some downtime when I'm not trying to kill somebody by reading their prescription wrong, I thought I might try to figure out how to go live on the Zoom on YouTube. Maybe I am. Can you see me? I don't know. This is my first time doing this. You are just going to have to bear with me. It's just coffee and love this morning, guys, all the way around. Supposedly, the temperatures are supposed to drop down to the 20s. My 5 magical flying days are over. Oh, there's a text. Robert thinks I have the day off. No, I'm not off, Robert. I'm just homesick. And let's see, is there a chat? Of course, you know, all my loser friends are at work today right now. And so there's probably not even anybody online to chat. That's going to be interesting. Let's see. Oh, no, wait, there's a whole list of chat here. Hey, well, good morning, everyone. Now I can see it and read it and talk about it. Mute your phone. Oh, yeah. I think it was coming out of the computer, that feedback at first. Watching from Pizza Hut. Hey, Case, how you doing? I had tacos last 3 days, Todd. Maybe that's why I'm sick. I don't know. Maybe I've been flying too much. I did some thermal flying yesterday afternoon, just for a few minutes, low, like an idiot. That was no good. Yeah, but they are taking lessons. Yeah, come on, Marty. We do lessons over here. Yeah, the weather's fixing to go foul, though. Man, we had like a bunch of good days in a row. Everybody was at the Suwannee fly-in, and we were ripping the skies apart over here in North Louisiana. I wished I could have gone. If I had had the time available, I would have. Excuse me. I guess I'm having some drainage. It's probably why my head's hurting, guys. Excuse me. But yeah, better here than at the mall pharmacy. Sorry if you're a mall pharmacy customer and want my service today. My apologies for that. But yeah, winter is upon us, internet. It is here. It's finally hit Louisiana. When it hits Louisiana, well, we don't even count Florida. If you're in Florida, just don't even comment because we don't care. Your grass, you're still having to water grass probably because it's 95 degrees and you're laying out in the front yard on your beach chair. Yeah, Florida people. Isn't there a whole meme about Florida man? Florida man waters his lawn in November. Yeah, probably so. Probably so. Heck yeah, so the Zoom's working. So I've got a live green screen. That was the whole point of getting this thing. You know, silly me. I thought that you just had an app, you got the app, you put it on and it worked. But no, you have to pay to use the green screen live. So excuse me. So I paid my fee and then it wouldn't work. This was a couple of nights ago. I tried to do like a Friday night or Saturday night live stream with everybody. And man, I had like the cold drink ready and I spent like 2 hours trying to get the thing to work. Too much computer stuff, man. I was chatting with Ibrahim over in wherever he's at. And I guess they fixed it because I turned it on this morning since I was here messing around and it seems to work. So yeah. So now we can go live green screen and do this kind of stuff. Okay, let me look back at the chat here. Oh yeah, the UK, the weather's always bad there. I mean, that's at least we only get it for a couple months a year. You guys deal with it like what, 11 months out of the year, rain and dreary drizzle. That's the word that I'm getting from everybody. Let's see. Oh yeah, I watched the SpaceX launch a while ago. I don't know if you guys are into rocket science or not. That's one of my other side things that I do. I'm into rocket stuff. I don't know, maybe it's the chemist in me or the physicist in me. I don't know. Rocket launches are cool, man. Just like gunfire. They involved mechanics and chemistry and like a good combination and melding of everything. It's like alchemy in its purest form when you're combining chemistry and mechanical operations. I love that kind of stuff. Okay. Missing the Mercury. Oh, Mercury's transiting. Okay, I didn't realize that, Ethan. I'm an astronomer as well. I knew it was close. I was watching Venus the other day and I seen that Mercury was close to it. I didn't realize it was on its way toward the sun, though. I've actually never witnessed a solar transit. I don't have a solar telescope of any sort. I've got like the eclipse glasses, the blackout glasses, but I wouldn't dare look through a telescope at the sun, even with those. It'd probably pierce a hole right through my brain. Like, what's the guy? Dr. Giggles' death ray. I don't know. Let's see. We're finally having some colder weather on the Texas coast. Oh, good. That means the beaches clear out and you can fly like anywhere, right? When the Texas coast gets cold, everybody moves out except for the PPG guys. The sand gets wet, you can drive on it. When it's dry, it's real powdery. You get stuck easy out there. Marty Harrison, pharmacy question. Foot bath for diabetics, beneficial or no? I would think that bathing is beneficial for anyone of any stage of health. Diabetics have this thing where their feet, they lose the feeling in their feet. So should they get like a wound, they don't feel it. And so they just keep stomping on it and things get infected and hurt. And I mean, sometimes it goes down to the bone and these people are just walking around because they don't feel it. They don't have any nerve receptors left in the feet because they've been glycosylated, because their sugar has been high for several years. And that's what happens. That's what diabetes gets you from it. It glycosylates everything. The sugar in the blood stays high because diabetics. Oh, my English language skills. Diabetics can't process the sugar because they don't have the insulin. It depends on what type you are. But then the sugar gets on everything. It gets on your heart cells, your eye cells, your nerves that gives you like erections and fine feeling in your fingers. And all that stuff gets coated with sugar and quits working. So that's kind of the end of diabetes untreated. So if you're diabetic, you want to take care of yourself. You want to take care of your feet. They're kind of like the first thing to go, sort of. But yeah, keeping them clean and healthy and protected is important. We had this one case back in college. A kid put like a Hot Wheels car in this dad's shoe. His dad was diabetic with neuropathy, couldn't feel his feet. Put the shoe on with the little Hot Wheel in there, walked around all day, never knew it, and it just wrecked his feet. So yeah, bad stuff. So anyhow, back from the day job. Let's see. Yeah, foot baths are probably good. Hey, Gorilla's up. What's up, man? Thought you had a job. Apparently some of you may have internet access at work. Who else? Kyle. Oh, I've got 40 viewers. Where's the viewers? Oh, yeah, I see it there now. Okay. You'd think I know how to use the YouTube by now, right? But yeah, hey, Chopper's fine. He's we put him on steroids and did this sort of thing. And he's good to go. I think we're fixing to let him in. We let the Dobermans, we let all the dogs inside if it gets below 50 outside. That's roughly a few months out of the year. And if it's above 50, they can just, deal with the wild out there and fight the coyotes all night. Dang, my head hurts, guys. I wished it would go away. And a cover. Oh, yeah. The Suwannee guys, I guess, are dealing with like hangovers and stuff. So I heard the fly-in got kind of blown out. Like all the weather that came through here a few days before hit Florida a few days later. So I guess it was not the worst thing that I missed it. I kind of miss hanging out with guys. That's really the whole point of a fly-in for me, because I fly almost every day, but I don't get to hang out with people every day. So when I go to a fly-in, that's a lot of times people are like, hey, you should go fly, right? And whenever I fly all the time, but I'm sorry, excuse me, but I don't want to dang, guys, it's like a faucet is running down the back of my throat. My apologies. Perhaps I should have picked a different background, maybe like a snot monster or something. I don't know. Where are we at? Let's go back to reading. I think I remember how to read. Oh, you're coming down, Rick, just in time for the 20-degree weather. Nah, it'll probably warm up. The good thing about Louisiana is if it gets cold and nasty, on average, most of the time, I'd say 7 out of 10 times when it gets cold and nasty, after about 4 or 5 days, it's warm again. So very rarely over the last 6 years, the longest spell that I've had that it was not flyable, not just due to weather, but like work scheduling weather, like nothing lined up, was 2 months. And that was just one winter when it was just like heavy rain the whole time. Anytime that I was off work from the pharmacy, it was just heavy rain or bitter cold or high winds. And it just never worked out. I think there was a few days smattered in there, but it was while I had other obligations. You know, the short daylight standard time is a real pain in the nutsack for PPG flyers that have jobs. It's dark at 5:30. So yeah, good. You come home and get stuff done in the shop. But yeah, Suwannee looked fun. I really wanted to go. I want to go to all the fly-ins. Maybe one day I'll be able to. Yeah, you'd think I'd have some medicine or something, right? Got some right here. I believe it's like Maxwell House, but it's good. How much land do you need for launch and landing? Um, that depends on your skill level, Stephen Kelso. It's my place is tight. The GoPro makes it look a lot bigger than it is, but the people who show up look and say, "Wow, it looks bigger on the video." That's what she said. But yeah, I've got 10 acres, roughly. Yeah, 3 to 5 is flyable out here. I've got some gaps cut in the trees, but there's trees, power lines, obstructions in every direction. So not the best place unless you have like some real skill set. I didn't fly here for a couple of years. You know, I made sure that I was on my game before I attempted flying out of my own property, just because it's kind of tight for newer guys. I wanted to make sure that I could. Um, yeah, bigger the better at first. Once you're able to hit a spot landing consistently with skill and style, then you can, go to smaller areas and you just try them out in increments. But give yourself margins. Like if you're hitting your mark, 9 out of 10 times, it's that 1 out of 10 times that's going to put you in a tree or a power line or whatever's around the spot that you picked. So make sure you don't have any dangerous obstructions around and that you can do what you need to do. But yeah, margins is the real key for any kind of flying, whether you're picking a landing spot or giving yourself enough altitude or whatever. Make sure you have the margins available. That's flying 101. Nova Mentor 4. I've heard good things about the Mentor 4. I've never flown one. I talked to a fella on a bus in Columbia one time. I was hitchhiking back from Zarzal back to Roll de Neo. And there was an English chap on the bus sitting next to me who was flying a Mentor 3, and it was right before the Mentor 4 came out that year. And I asked him had he had the opportunity to fly, and he said he did. And he liked the 3 better. But I don't know if that was because he owned a 3 and was actively flying it more, but he said he tried the 4 out and did not like it. I don't remember why he said he didn't like it, but he said he liked the 3 better. And I remember some real hot reviews coming out when the 3 was released. So that's my scoop on the Nova Mentor series. That's all I really know about those wings, but it's probably fine if it's again just about every wing from the big reputable brands that have come out in the last 5 years have been on point. I mean, there's little pros and cons about each ones that I've tried, but dang, the bigger the better. Let's see. I'm within a soccer field on the launch and landing. Yeah, like I say, if you're good enough to do it, 10 out of 10 times, it's probably fine. Just again, conditions, if a tight spot with real strong winds may not be a good spot. If it's low wind, it may be fine. There's so many variables. I can't really say you need exactly 2 acres to be a safe LZ. Like it depends on what's around it. Is it covered with like cornfields around each side, or has it got tall Louisiana pines everywhere? That's going to make a difference. Or, high tension power lines off to one side. You certainly don't want to get caught up in those things. Oh, somebody thumbed down the live video. Yeah, I get one of those every video. I get a thumbs down immediately. Wonder who that could be. Go ahead and comment. I wonder if they're still watching. Funny stuff. Oh, what was your weight loss secret? Craig, you just got to quit eating sugars. That'll make you lose weight quick. Or move around, or both. It's like a combination, just healthy living in general. Clearly something I've not been doing, or I wouldn't have become infected with whatever this is. But I guess, just living in the world, you're going to be coming across stuff. You ever tried to remote a drone while you're flying? No, when I fly, I like to fly. Like, in fact, on all my paramotors, I even hid all the stuff like the RPM, the tachometer, the temperature gauge. I had that stuff on a paramotor, and I caught myself looking at it as much as I was looking out at where I was flying. And I said, you know what? That's a distraction. I don't even turn on a GPS a lot of times unless I'm XC or thermal flying, something like that. I don't like to be distracted. I like to focus on what's going on around me. I mean, the first time you look up and realize there's an airplane or helicopter right on top of you, and you were staring down at something, you'll get the idea like, damn, I need to keep my eyes out. That's the priority. And so I find that the stuff that you could look at is a distraction. So I don't particularly like to do that when I'm flying. I try to keep it as safe as I can. Yeah, keto. I've done keto type stuff on the regular. I'm back and forth though, man. Sometimes I like to eat tacos for a week, and then sometimes I don't eat for a week. So I'm up and down. That's kind of the way I roll. I've always had the like a weird thing where I can push through like diet stuff. Like, I'm not hungry. I know it's just a sugar craving. If I'm feel hungry, you're not really hungry until you've gone past like the keto stage and you're feeling good and you've got the like the keto flu, what they call it. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's the same stuff that's happening. I was just talk about diet for a minute, something I have some formal training in as a pharmacist. So when you talk about drugs, right? Like, let's just take, for example, Zoloft. It's a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. When you start taking a drug like that, your brain receptors have to repopulate. Same thing with heart drugs like beta blockers that affect your heart rate. They block beta receptors, so the population of those receptors increases. When that happens, it's a slow thing. Your proteins have to build, your body has to kind of reestablish an equilibrium. It takes several days to get everything repopulated. That's why you can't stop these drugs cold turkey. You have to taper off slowly over the course of a couple of weeks so that the receptor populations can transition without such a jolt to the system. Sometimes the jolt is uncomfortable, sometimes it's dangerous. When you switch your diet from a sugar-based diet to a fat-based diet, excuse me, you have to, your body has to build the machinery to process fats, because typical people that are on a sugar-based diet are not burning fats on the regular. So their body has downregulated that biologic machinery that processes fats. And that's why you feel terrible for the first week or two, is because you've taken the sugar away and your body is like screaming for some calories, right? And it doesn't have much of that machinery to process those fats. And that's where the ketosis comes in. Over about a week, your body starts to change, and you start to repopulate those fat burning receptors, machinery, whatever you call it, the biologics that are going on. When that stuff ramps up and hits like full speed production, you're chopping fats like crazy and you feel good. You feel fueled without eating anything because your body's eating itself more or less. In the meantime, you consume fats only as the ketogenic based diet, so that your body uses those. If you only give it fats, it'll have to start burning fats. Then you can cut them out and start doing this intermittent fasting. And it's not so much weight loss as it is fat loss. The fat just melts off of you, like all the stuff that you typically eat just burns away. And then yeah, that's the whole basis of that diet, is to teach your body to cook the fats. And it's kind of like a drug come down, like you're using sugar like a drug. And so it's kind of a weird thing when people like quit taking their Effexor and they have a terrible week. It's it's a similar thing. Is kind of the whole point of that, just that rant just there. So, all right, let's see, back to the what's the best GPS for navigating on an XC flight? I don't know, man. They all kind of do the same thing. You know, you can set up the parameters. I use an Udi flight deck. I bought that thing years ago. Works pretty good. A lot of the newfangled stuff that's out is an XC tracer, and there's some way you can Bluetooth it over to like a cheap tablet, and all your data would display on the tablet. A guy showed me one over at on Blossom one day. I was out there flying with Robert at Blossom. And he was showing me his setup. I was like, oh wow, XC tracer. And the tracer is just a little bitty brick. It's like the size of a 2x2 by ½ inch. It's not very big at all. I bought one. It's not as loud as the Udi. I use it for, most time I have my motor helmet on, so I got the ear protection. So the volume, I put it on my riser so that it's as close to my head as I can get it. And it's I wished it were a little louder. The Udi will scream at you. It will give you, I can hear it plainly, but there's a delay between the two. When I run them both, man, that XC tracer, it beeps. And then a second later, the Udi beeps. So there's that 1 second delay. And just that little bit can get you caught in on a thermal a lot closer to the center. But, your brain is processing too. So you're hearing the sound, you're getting the feedback from the glider. And I could always tell there was a delay there just based on what I'm feeling and hearing and processing. And when I thermal, I look up. I don't know. I'm a weirdo, maybe. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I stare straight up at the wing. If I'm going up, I'm looking at the way I'm going. So I'm not so much looking out or down, if I'm going down, I look down. I try to look where I'm going. And when I'm going up, I'm looking up, which has me looking up at the wing. And I'm sort of visually imagining where that thermal is when I'm coring one. What else are we looking at here? Chase cams, Dave Moore. Yeah, they're too fiddly for me. And then extra editing. Anytime you bust out extra camera angles, you basically double your editing time. Now, I love to edit as much as the next guy, but I find that, the videos that I use 3-4 camera angles and spend like a whole day's worth of free time editing, I don't get any extra views. Nobody's like, oh, sure, I'm glad you used all those extra camera angles. Again, my production quality is just old homeboy style, man. I film it and I try to convey the story more than anything if I can. And it varies. What people like is different. So what I produce is maybe not, what people like. Some people like chase cam footage. Chase cam footage is cool. I don't have any problem with it, but it ain't worth me taking the time to hook it up, turn it on, sync it later, all this stuff. I've made them and used them, and it's they're interesting. But at one time I forgot my line, borrowed a line. It was the wrong length, and the camera flew right into the propeller. Pow! Lost the camera, lost the card, lost the footage. That was fun. So I haven't done one since then, but the prop was fine. What's up with the hat? Oh, this hat was a gift from Justin's wife, one of my students who need him to come back and keep flying. If you're out there, Justin, come on back. I like the hat. It's handmade, little Mohawk hat. Good stuff. The Tigers are like big mean ass cats. Are you talking about LSU Tigers? I think they won a football game the other night. Yeah, Brandon, he's done the ketosis. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. That yeah, if you can get past that first week or two, man, it's like a free ride. Like you feel great. Like just have a little coffee and you'll forget that. Like people will say, hey, you want to go eat? And you're like, eat? I'm not even hungry though. And and you're in this, you don't get the ups and downs either. Like the insulin crashes where you eat like a slab of cake that your 80-year-old employee gives you from home. That's delicious. And she just throws a big 2-pound slab of it in front of you and says, there you go, Kyle. Man, you look at that thing and you're like, I can't not eat it, right? But when you're doing like hard keto, you're just like, nah, I'm good. That's okay. And oh, Derek liked the bicycle video, rolling around town with the kids. Yeah, we like to do that. There's not much to do around here. We either flying or I should have brought some damn tissues, y'all. I'm finna do some nasty stuff and just wipe it on my arm. I'll wash later. I swear I will. Coming out all, at least the top holes now. Not all holes. All my holes aren't leaking yet. I hope it doesn't get to that point. chase cam footage, helpful to improve my landings. Yeah, I guess it could be, Doug. Probably your best footage for improving your landings or anything is to set a camera off to the side, like about 45 degrees off to the front. So you can get sort of a side and a front and, and just do takeoff and landings like in front of that camera, like mark on the ground where the edges of the frame are, and then try to do all your operations inside that frame reference. And then you can go back and look at the video, and that teaches you a lot. That's how I learned to kite, more or less. I took some lessons and then, or a lesson, learned how to kite, like how to hook in, how to do the moves. Then I went home and practiced on camera for like 20 hours. And that's really where it all started. And then I'm still practicing. I kited yesterday. It was practice. I was never stop practicing, guys. It's something we do. What's your favorite food treat? Well, I don't know, Craig. I mean, I could probably list the stuff I don't like quicker than I could list the stuff I like. Celery, licorice. That's two things. Okay, that's about it. That's about all I don't like. I said it the other day as I was eating some celery. Try an old pick of videotape on a 9-inch bamboo diddy pole for fishing. Yeah, any kind of long. Oh, wind socks, guys. I've been making a huge video. I mean, well, huge footage collection, like all the windsock footage from the last couple of months and all the weather footage from the last maybe 3 or 4 months. I've been saving up. And when it really gets nasty and dark and dreary and cold around here, I'm going to bust off like a windsock video and a weather video, like a big one. I mean, I don't know how many minutes it'll be. I'm not even started on it yet. Just been collecting footage, these things, you can't get the footage from a single day because you want to kind of document all possible conditions so that they can be discussed. And that's what I've been working on kind of in the background on the sidelines. All that stuff is coming soon, I hope. If this cold don't kill me. Whatever in the hell I got. I took some ibuprofen this morning with my coffee. Say you're supposed to eat food with it. That's what the pharmacist will tell you, but I didn't. Maybe it won't burn a hole in my stomach. I feel Kyle has been shadow banned. He deserves $1 million. Oh, has Tucker got $1 million yet? I hope he does. That's pretty cool. I think I signed up with Tucker at about 320. So I was maybe 320 on Tucker's. We've been talking and chatting the whole time, man. I'm so proud that he made a go out of that. As far as, I mean, I couldn't make a living on YouTube. Good heavens, that they pay me enough maybe for the coffee. I don't have 1 million viewers either, so that's nice. Need some whiskey in your coffee? I don't know, man. Whiskey gets me in trouble. I'm not a hard liquor drinker. Them Nebraska assholes giving me whiskey at the fly-in. Don't do that. That's bad. I'm just kidding. It's my fault. I'm the one who can't say no. Oh, Jennifer's here. That's her. I forgot your name, Jennifer. I'm sorry. You're just Justin's wife. When I meet you in person, then I'll know. Of working on renting a small hay field I can mow. Oh, nice. Yeah, hay fields are great. Heck yeah. More 151 rum. That fix anything. At least you won't remember being sick if you drink 151 rum. Come through with a hangover, which feels, I think a hangover, like a bad hangover, when you get blackout drunk, like that feels worse than having a cold and a headache and not being able to focus real well. I would prefer probably a cold virus over a blackout drunk session. As fun as that sounds, that's yeah, Jennifer Glamier is the hat maker. Yeah, y'all like her work. I love it. I was just waiting on it to get cold so that I could put it on. It's kind of cold in this room. This is my studio room. We closed off like the heat and the door. I use it mainly for paraglider storage, and it's my spare bedroom for company that comes in. And garage sale shenanigans. We're gonna have one of those in about a month, I think. My wife wants to. Whatever. I hate garage sales, but anything that gets the junk cleared out. Like, my worst fear is that one day I'm gonna look up and I'm gonna be like a true hoarder. Like, damn, I got trails cut through every room. I've got like a fear of that. I don't want to be that guy. So we have clutter. We have a family. That's just, that goes along with it. My shop is probably the worst thing. That's my domain. I've cluttered it up completely. There are some spots that are starting to look like they have trails. So I might throw some shop junk out there on the garage sale day. Morphine patch. I'm not aware of a morphine patch, John. I could probably make one, but I don't know that they're available commercially. It's not something I've had and I've come across. Sometimes I get surprised. Um, what's the best time of year to start learning? Scary Larry. I would think springtime, when everything is in bloom, and maybe the cold weather has broken finally. And I would say if I was going to start training, I would, and it depends on where you live, of course, obviously. I mean, if we're talking Southern Hemisphere, that's going to be different months. I guess they have a spring too. It's just 6 months different. Yeah, springtime, probably your best time to learn. And then you'll learn the rest of your life. So until you've actually, when they say someone is a seasoned whatever, I think that implies that they've gone through all 4 seasons. That's what I was told after a couple of seasons. Like, I think I finally gotten where I can feel it pretty good. And my instructor's like, until you've flown all 4 seasons, you're really not quite there yet, because they all offer something a little different. And when you've gone for the entire, come full circle back to where you start. But a good starting point, I would vote March. You're going to get more for your time, more for your money doing it then. If you start at the end of December or January, again, the days are shorter, colder, wetter. You're not going to, the same 2 weeks in January is not the same 2 weeks you're going to get in March or June, something of this nature. So, I would just wait, save my money, bide my patience. Patience is hard when you're ready to go, though. I remember having dreams about it before I actually took my first PPG flight. Even though I was flying planes regular at that point, I still wanted to do, the paramotor. I remember the feeling, like restless, sleepless nights, dreams about it, fun stuff. Walter Priori, can I come to USA so you can teach me foot launch? Just need cash funds. Yeah, that's all it takes, man. Trip over here to the Northwest Louisiana, has some money in your hand, and we'll get you doing whatever you need, man. That's what we do over here. Somebody doesn't like Woody. Which Woody are we talking about? There's a few different Woodies in the sport. There's Woody's gamer tag, lovely addition to our sport. So glad that he's doing this. And then there's the other Woody, the guy who thought, I guess, Todd was getting rich off of the Resurgence PPG. I don't know. That kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. That's what she said. Right. Excuse me. Anyway, so Woody's, yeah, there's probably good ones and bad ones, right? I don't know if I've ever had a bad Woody. Oh, should get an open PPG project, make a production out of it. Oh, was my chat stuck? Hold on, I think I missed some stuff here. Let's see. Garage sale for PPG stuff. Yeah, sure. Throw something out there. Can you use paragliding and boar hunting? I'm sure you could. That would have a lot to do with location. They do aerial hunts in Texas, preferably South or Southwest Texas, because there's nothing for the pigs to hide under. So you can chase them down in the scrub and shoot them with aircraft. It's legal in Texas as well, not in Oklahoma, Arkansas, or Louisiana. Not aware of any other states, but those specifically, it's illegal to hunt from an aircraft. And if you even call it hunting, pig shooting around here, they've got trees, we got forest everywhere, so they run under the canopies and you lose them. I've been asked that question probably as much as any question is, you're going to hog hunt off that thing you fly, Kyle? And the answer is no. I mean, it's pointless and it's dangerous. You're flying low. You've got if you're low, you need your hands on the controls, right? You got almost no time to react. If you're shooting and aiming a gun, then you can't fly your aircraft, and you have to get somewhat low to do that. Sending them from high is kind of tandem setup, maybe with a brass catcher. Again, you got your brass ejecting out of the, into the prop. That would be a bad thing. So it's not something that I've entertained with any seriousness. I mean, Again, you'd have to have a flyer and a shooter to make it work properly. And around here, it's not going to be very good. So maybe if I shot out to West Texas and bought a light, you got to buy a hunting license and things like that to do it there as well. But yeah, that sounds good. How do you find out wing information on all the different brands of wings? You would probably go to those particular brands' websites. They have all the specifications listed. That's what you're looking for. The best way to get information is to get one and fly it, borrow one, buy one, rent one. I don't know, but hands-on is going to give you the feedback that you really require. And even with one size, kind of model of one model of wing, the different sizes will be vastly different in their handling characteristics and things like that. Spring is the way to go. Hey, Miro, what's up, dude? Yeah, Miro was a prodigy. He was doing well from the get-go. Beautiful flight last night, Eric. Yeah, I got 2 new pilots in the air last night. They've been training for a couple of months, 2-3 months, doing ground handling. There's some East Texas guys, 2 guys that live over there, and they came in together so they could carpool and stuff, and got them kiting and towing, and then they did their first motor flights last night. It was not bad at all. Beautiful, buttery, smooth conditions, like primo. Forward launch. I got him with the old taxi trick. Let's just taxi down to the end, power taxi. All right, you're looking good. If you want to go, you could just add some power. Keep doing that. Off he went. So good stuff, man. Love that trick. Famous trick. What's a good website to find out paramotor events? Move to 4 coin. I'd probably the Facebook. That's probably going to get you the most information about stuff that's going on. People will be posting there all the time. Let's see. I've had people ask me to spot elk and deer. Sure, buddy, but conveniently forget to do it. Yeah, I think there's some legalities about that in some of the mountain states. I know in Wyoming, that's like a no-no to use aircraft to locate like deer, elk, stuff like this, bears. Because you could go look at them, but to do that for hunting purposes, I believe is a no-no. But hey, if you're just out recreationally flying and see a herd of elk there, and then the next morning you're going hunting, then you didn't use the aircraft to find them for the hunting. It was just a coincidence. That's how you word it, I think. Greg Harris, what are your thoughts on hybrid wings, Kyle? I've not actually flown the hybrid. I've flown the single skin and the double skin, and I could pretty much imagine that the hybrid's going to be in between those as far as the lighter weight is probably your biggest pro. It'll ground handle in anything, like zero wind. I got a video actually where I did actually there was some wind, but the wing flies so easy that I did a figure 8, like just running, just ground kiting. I was going to do a circle, like a 360. And when I got back to the starting point, I was like, I'm going left now. And I did another circle to the left. So I should have a video coming of that at some point. And the biggest thing about the single skin is they don't have as much energy. The way the single skin glider works, you've got like the airfoil shape. You have to have an airfoil shape for a wing to fly. So you got the air going over, and then you got the air coming under. And on the bottom surface, it's a pocket of air that serves as the bottom surface of the wing. So you got the air splitting here, but underneath, it's just kind of a mushy spot for the air to separate. A skin there it's a hard surface, so the air separates nicely. So you lose some performance out of it. But by the same rationale, the low weight keeps it from shooting and juking real bad. You get feedback out of it, but it's not real shooty. And there's no really inflation either. It just pops and the air is on it. You don't have to inflate the wing through the sails, the little openings in the front on a double surface. But the flare is kind of weird. You have to really jam it hard at the last second to flare, again, because you don't have that performance that you get with a double surface. But it's it's a good wing though. I like it for training people to kite mainly. If I was going to own one, I probably wouldn't own one if I wasn't teaching people to do this stuff. But yeah, great for that. But if you're just buying a wing, I would get a double surface glider. They're going to give you the maximum performance, better flight, better speed. Um, Again, they're a little harder to ground handle, which is not a big deal if you know how to ground handle. But for somebody learning to ground handle, man, those single surface wings, like I can teach people to kite in like a couple of hours usually with one of those. In fact, a girl stopped by the other day just at the field, just random 21-year-old girl was walking her dog over at a pecan orchard and saw us land, and she pulled up and said, "Is that a paramotor?" I was like, "You know what this is?" Like, damn. I said, "You want to try it?" She said, "Yeah." And I didn't have my tandem gear. I was like, "Oh, I wanted to give her a ride." And so I said, "Well, look, let's just hook you up, right?" So I hooked her up to that single skin glider. Hour and a half later, she was kiting and I was pushing her across the field and she was flying that thing. It was pretty amazing. So yeah, that's where the single surface really shines, is learning to kite. And hike and fly, that's the other thing. I think I did a video about this actually, where pros, cons, what you would want if you were hiking up a mountain and just using it as a descent apparatus, which is what the original paragliders were used for, was just getting down from the mountain that somebody climbed. It's easier to fly down. And then somebody hit a thermal one day and realized you could climb in these things. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, hike and fly, the less weight, less packing volume, all that stuff is probably a real positive thing for those single skin gliders. And then again, easy to launch. If you're at the top of a mountain that's not like a launch site, you could probably pull that thing up just in the rough and launch it no problem. So all right, let's see. What I miss here on my questions. We go back up and okay, hybrid wing. Favorite. Thanks, Chad. Alan Penn, yeah, Alan Penn's a prodigy. He does well on his training too. Um, yeah, Josh, I got up to go to work and then I realized that I was sick, so I laid back down for a minute. Then I thought I would try, excuse me, the Zoom live feature that I bought the other night. So yeah, I got the green screen for the live. That's pretty nice. Mojo Power, any good, Joey? It's a good wing, but it's too safe. If that's a thing, it hangs back so much that I find new guys really struggle when they come down into the brakes on their initial lower wind launches. The wing just falls back. It's like it wants to stall more than it wants to fly, which keeps it from shooting out in front of you and collapsing, which is technically worse, but that's something that can be taught easily. So I pretty much put everybody straight to a B glider. Now, with that said, if you're in mountain conditions where you've got wind and you need that passive safety, like learning to thermal, something like that, Mojo's probably better for that. But for flatland motor flying, I've been pointing people away from that glider. I just find that it causes more harm than benefit. The passive safety is fine, but that's not a helpful thing when you want that wing to come up and plane out and you push the gas and get on the controls and find that equilibrium. What happens with that Mojo is they pull it up, hit the gas, pull some control, and the wing falls straight back into the thrust line. And I don't like that. So I've opted away from that wing, and I'm using universals from Dudek to train people to fly. I've been flying them a lot myself too. I love those wings, man. I tried a bunch of ones. There's a bunch of others too. The Spider from Ozone, fine wing. It's a little lighter weight, slightly easier to launch. It's also B rated, so it comes up, planes out nicely, but it doesn't have the trim range. It's not going to be as durable, and it costs about $400 or $500 more than the Universal. So you take all those things into account, and I'm still right back at the Universal. And again, there's others. I'm just those are the ones I've had the most experience with. But there are others that are just fine, and they work good. And you can learn on a Mojo. Mojo's perfectly fine. But then the problem I noticed, guys that really figured out the Mojo, is when they step up, they're not hitting brake like they need to. The gliders they step up to are shooting past them, folding, and they're face planting and falling down when they make a transition into the next gliders. So there you go. Again, another detriment for that Mojo wing. So that's my thought on the Mojo. Yeah, happy Veterans Day. I saw that when I got up on the Facebook. I pulled the phone out. Okay, do it again. I should have bought some Kleenex. Totally unprepared. I got nothing. I'm not going to wipe it on the green screen. That would just be terrible, right? Let's see here. Yeah, thanks for your service. Veterans Day. Eric was landing his Mojo Power on the golf cart roof. Yeah, they fly slow. I mean, again, flying a Mojo is not that big of a deal. It's just it wants to fall back. It's not good for people learning. I flew one at the beach and I had to let the trims all the way out just to make it do kind of what I wanted, which takes it out of certification if you let the trims out. So now you've got something more like a B glider anyway, with the trims full out, and you can't go past that. Anyway, that's I could go on and on, but I'd probably be repeating all the same stuff. Yeah, Alan's got a universal. I wouldn't steer you wrong, man. I would always offer my honest opinion about any of it. Demo. Yeah, the Luna 2. Oh, Nick, that's right. We sort of I lost contact with you. I get inundated with so many messages that sometimes messages work. You get 10, 20 a day and you're going to forget some, miss some. Yeah, Nick offered to ship out his Luna 2 for me to try. I don't know. It's almost like it's maybe I'll just come across one day. I don't know. That would be fine too, but it's a bad time of the year for it anyway. We'll wait till spring maybe, or next time we catch up with each other in real life, maybe I'll just test it then. But yeah, BGD products interest me. I've never flown one. I've seen a few of them, but I'd like to try one of those out. And there was one they made, Sea Wing, that I almost got my hands on. It's called the Cure, I think. But yeah, I think those gliders are probably fine. Kona, yeah, that's a good glider. Pretty agile for a glider. They just came out with the Kona 2 that was released recently. Yeah, two liners it takes a special kind of crazy to step into those. They're boy, they fly good though. But you gotta be a full commit kind of guy to step into the two line scene. The jump between A and B and B and C was not anything like the jump from C to D. That was just, there's such a gap in between those two. And I think the three liner D gliders are probably the answer to that. The mantra the Ozone makes is probably a good transition. I stepped right over that and straight into the two liners, but I guess I could have gotten that mantra, but at that point it wasn't out. When I made the step, they had the mantra 6, but the 7 is pretty nice when I'm hearing. You and Harrison are giving me the Pine Mountain withdrawal. Yeah, Kevin, come on over, dude. It's fun stuff around here. Love your channel. Oh, thanks. I really do it. Yeah, it's I do what I can. Good safe progression wing. The Kona was the same wing profile as the Buzz Z5. I flew that glider for a season. Good glider. I like the Kona too. It's just got a different trimmer set. They call it a Kona, I believe. Possibly a different material weight. I don't know. I don't study the details that much. Great videos. Turning point when I started Mojo. Started to take off with the trims out. Yeah, that puts it more like what you want, Skylar. A Mojo with the trims out is more or less where somebody would likely want to start. My feeling. And then again, once you do that, you're at the end of the glider. You can't really progress from there. Mojo with the trims out kind of gets you a universal with the trims in sort of feel. But with the universal, you've got all that extra. You got the 2D steering. And again, you're paying about the same money for them too. So, for my money, I want the maximum. And that's what I recommend. ITV Boxer. I've not had the opportunity to try any ITV products. There are some people that have. It's yeah, I'd like to get my hands on as much as I can, but sadly I just can't buy everything that I want to try. A lot of it I just need to touch in real life. It'll fly in, or when people bring stuff around. That's probably my biggest chance to do stuff like that, as far as testing wings and figuring out what's good, bad, that sort of stuff. Brake pressures, some people like stiff pressures, some people like them light. I'm sort of in the middle of the road on that. I prefer deeper pressures, but when I fly a wing with lighter pressures, once I kind of gain that feel, I really like it. You don't have to pull as hard, so you're not as exerted at the end of the session. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, I'd love to get my hands on one, see how I feel about it. A lot of times people, they've only flown 1 or 2 gliders, and then they're making recommendations based on 2. Yeah, I see that on Facebook a lot. People like, you should get this. This is good stuff. But that may be the only stuff they've ever touched. The recommendations that you should be looking at if you're in a situation where you're curious about what's good, bad, and ugly. You want to take the advice from people that have flown all of the good, bad, and ugly. And there's people out there that have flown more than me. So that's something to consider when you're reading like internet review type stuff, is what have they actually tried, right? Because first glider I tried, I loved it, right? It flies good. I do everything good on it, and it was good. Nothing was wrong with that glider. But again, the little nuances between this, that, and another, I didn't know at that point. So, and I did the same thing. Like, you should try this glider because it's great. And it, they're all great. If they fly good and they're safe, they're great. But it's the little things. It's the little things that make the difference. So, yeah. Hey, what's up, Caleb? Good stuff. I hear you're kiting again, sir. Congratulations. Everyone should kite as much as they can. I don't think this is a Dale-free zone. We can talk tacos. Skywalk Tequila 4. Yeah, I've heard good things about that glider too, Kevin. The Sky Slug. The Sky Slug was a Paratoys original. That's yeah, that was fun stuff. Tried motoring my BGD Punk 25. Was never a comfortable flight. Did piloting the whole time. 23 Luna felt solid. Okay. Yeah, again, different gliders, maybe different conditions. I don't know. That'll make a difference. The Nucleon XX. I've out of the intermediate gliders, the Nucleon XX, nothing's wrong with it, but when I started doing like big wing overs on it, it almost always folded a tip, no matter what I was doing with the brakes. You got to jam them hard, I guess. Maybe I wasn't doing it right, but I'm able to do wing overs on all my other gliders without any issue. But that Nucleon seemed to always take a tip on a wing over or barrel roll. And no matter what input that I did, it seemed to do that. And I've heard that from people who owned the wing and actually did them a lot. I got the same feedback from those guys. So yeah, nothing's wrong with it though. It's a nice intermediate wing. It'll get you some speed, some efficiency, a little easier to launch. When you're talking about stepping up into a higher performance glider, what a lot of people don't realize, especially the guys newer into the sport, is that a higher performance wing is actually much easier to launch than a beginner wing, because as soon as it takes shape, it is flying so much better. As far as a wing flying, it's more of a wing flying than like a big boaty parachute, like a beginner wing. The problem that you wouldn't want to learn on one, because the inputs on the brakes get you about twice as much reaction out of the glider. So somebody who's maybe a bit heavy-handed and trying to learn, they're going to be over controlling an intermediate glider, a higher performance glider, and stuff can get wrecked pretty dang quick. A wrong input on the right, a wrong input on the left, and you're in the dirt at full power, and that's going to wreck everything. So something to consider. But when you're stepping up into higher performance, man, as soon as they come up and inflate and take shape, they're easier. You don't have to run as hard, as far. They just take right off the ground. So a higher performance glider is going to be easier to launch and land and everything around. But again, it's also going to be more agile, more spicy, more shooty. Everything that makes it easier to take off and accelerate is going to make it harder to control on the other end. And again, that's why they give them the different ratings, is because the recoveries and stuff, how they move, how much they move, how fast they move. Again, all of it's got to do with the performance of the glider and the higher performance stuff. So just a little thing there that I've come across over the years. So I guess it seems that Zoom's working. That was really why I was here. Oh, look, I've got some medicine left. It's cold. Yeah. Anyway. So, what do y'all think? What's next? Oh, there's 92 people watching now. That's nice. Oh, I need Kleenexes and hot coffee. That's what I need. Oh, what is your go-to post-universal wing recommendation? Man, that's going to be different for different pilots, different locations, type of flying. You know, what are we aiming for, Jeremiah? What's the next goal? What type of flying are you ready to step into? You want something to go faster in the flatlands? You want to do some thermaling? Are you want something you could motor fly and free fly? Spider. Oh wait, I missed some chat here. Let's back up a notch. Server speeds for a while. Morning, Bill. How you doing? You have done it. Why ask? Yeah, Ramaflex. Yeah, it's a good wing. Nothing wrong with that. Thanks, Gerardo. Let's see something. Wing in the air. So everybody go later, Derek. You need soup in bed. Yeah, I just got up though, Jennifer. That if I lay down too much, even when I'm sick, my back starts hurting real bad. If I lay in bed more than like 10 hours, I've woken up, just been deathly ill before and laid in bed for a day or two. And as soon as I start feeling better from the illness, I can't hardly walk because my back's in such a bind. I've had a bad back for some year. I say bad, it's relatively healthy most of the time, but again, it's how I'm living though. Not sleeping but 6-7 hours, and then if that sometimes, and then I get up, move around. I stand at work. I don't sit often. I'm always kiting and flying and moving. Just I think being active is good. I had some herniated disc about 10 years ago. Basically shut me down for a year, changed my whole quality of life, put it in the gutter. It was a terrible time. I had L4 and L5. Both those discs got herniated. They were pushing on nerves, and it caused like a sciatica, and man, just wrecked me. I couldn't walk. I couldn't lay down. I couldn't sit. Nothing was comfortable. If I ever did get to sleep, I would roll over my sleep, and it would stabbing pain would wake me up. And so I wasn't sleeping very much, and that made me a miserable bastard. I was taking drugs, doing physical therapy, just anything. I mean, I was ready to go to a witch doctor. I made an appointment with a surgeon, in fact, because I didn't know what else to do after about 8-10 months of it. I couldn't run. Again, walking was a struggle. Everything hurt. Just miserable, just all around miserable, like chronic pain in your back. That's something. I got a soft spot in my heart for people that have that, because it is life altering. I hear a funny noise coming outside. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's Monday. It's the trash truck. Okay. I mean, I'm never here for that. So that was an unusual noise. Okay. What was I saying? I got distracted there. Oh, yeah, the back pain. So I made an appointment with this surgeon, and it was like 6 weeks out was as soon as they could get me in. And thank God, because I would have let him cut on me as soon as I got there. But 2 days before that appointment, I woke up and my back was just sore a little bit. And then the next day I woke up and it was fine. Like I felt 100%. I could move, I can walk. And I was like walking on eggshells because I didn't want whatever had done right to go wrong again. So I was just stupefied, man. I didn't know what in the hell had just happened, but I felt great. First time I felt great in like 8 months. And I went on to the appointment because I made the appointment just to ask why. Like, oh, what in the heck is going on? I felt great, man. The guy gave me an exam and he said, sometimes those, and I had an MRI done. I had all that stuff with me. We knew what the problem was, but again, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to do the injections if I could help it. They like a temporary fix. They work for a few days from what I hear, people that get them. And then, but yeah, he said, just moving weird sometimes can cause it. It's not like you picked up a car and all of a sudden you hurt yourself, but it could be something as simple as reaching for a piece of paper and something squeezing out of line and popping loose. So anyway, it was just a miracle and a blessing that my back recovered without doing anything really. I mean, I was physical therapy and all that seemed to help more than anything else. It's basically like sit-ups and crunches and kind of strengthening the core. And that helps straighten the spine out and maybe relieve some pressure. I did several months of that. And again, it helped some, but it wasn't like I wasn't cured instantly sort of deal. But when I did wake up and it was gone, it was gone. And I've had just some occasional bouts since then. Typically, when I lay in bed for about 2 days is when it comes back and kind of gives me that reminder of, oh, this is what it felt like. And then when I, do my movement and stuff, it seems to go away after a day or two. Anyway, that's my herniated disc story, and that was over a decade ago when that was so bad. And I seem to be doing okay now. Think, knock on some wood or something. Hope that don't come back. How many tacos do you need to build up so much phlegm? I don't know that this came from the tacos, man. I don't know. I think a thermal sucked some viruses up and got in my nose. Still be flying and doing videos in the real cold? Nah. Now, usually if it's real cold, my sort of personal feelings on that and the place that I live is when it's real cold, I don't want to go. I'll wait. And usually after 4 or 5 days, it warms back up and I'll get, 60, 70 degrees again. It's just rare that, after a couple weeks goes by, I'll start getting itchy. I want to go. I want to go get some. And if it's been a couple weeks and it's cold, I may go if I'm off and it's pretty. I may, dress for the occasion and do it. But if it's only been a few days since I flew and it was comfortable weather and then it's cold and nasty, I usually don't. So again, 2 to 3 super cold weather flights a year is about all I subject myself to. And again, typically if it's been a couple weeks, I'll dress for it. Or if I'm traveling or something and I've got it to a spot and it's going to be pretty the next day, but I'm there and I've got the unit and it's cold, I may do a flight like that. Optimal body weight for starting. There's no optimal body weight, just good health. I mean, there's wings available for any size pilot. It's the weight doesn't matter. More of maybe your stamina and agility. Your body shape probably has more to do with it than the weight. You can get a wing that'll pick up your weight easily with no problem. But being healthy and active and agile is going to be better than any amount of weight that someone weighs to get started. I was about 235. I've gone all the way down to like 190, and then I'm back up around 220. Typically, I'm somewhere around 210, 215. That's sort of Kahlo's standard configuration. Just depends on what's happening in my life the month before as to how much I weigh, basically. Ouch. It hurts to cough. When I cough, I feel it right there. Anyway, pretty mild, but pulse ox, Joey, 10,000 feet. I can usually tell if I'm getting hypoxic. I get tingling in my lips. I don't think I've ever been super hypoxic. The one time I tested it, I was hiking at about 12,000 feet and I felt the old tingle in my lips. And when I got down to the bottom of the mountain, I went to an oxygen bar. Those are things in the mountains. And when they put the pulse ox on me, I was about 88. And then as soon as they put me on the concentrator, it went up to 99 immediately. But that I usually don't do a lot of high flying. And if I do, I'm not really exerting myself, just sitting in a paramotor and squeezing the throttle generally won't get you that hypoxic if you're in good health. That has a lot to do with it, is how healthy you are as a person, your physiology. I'm not a smoker, so that's a helpful thing. I'm relatively active, so I'm, I can oxygenate pretty well. I'm able to run. If you can't do that stuff, that may, you might want to watch out or bring a pulse ox or even an oxygen tank. show you if you're skiing, yeah, that's different than sitting on a paramotor. There's again, you're not exerting yourself. So something to consider. Every situation is different. You could certainly get hypoxic at any point in any condition under any circumstances. So it's a serious thing. And usually you don't know it if it's happening. It's not something that, because I think getting hypoxic feels really good. You almost euphoric, like you're high or something. And you're feeling good anyway, and then you're feeling even better. And then yeah, all of a sudden you're like blacked out, asleep. The good news is there's nothing to hit up there, but maybe an occasional airplane. So something to think about. Yeah. Mark. Oh yeah, Mark Honeycutt. Yeah, there's been a lot of people gone higher than I have. I thought about doing another high flight just for kicks and giggles, man. I don't know, bigger fuel tank, maybe a more efficient wing motor. There's no reason I don't think I could get to 18 grand if I push for it. Did it right. I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to set up the carburetor so I can lean it out in flight. That's the one thing I would probably want to do different. And then, of course, I'd carry the oxygen if I was going that high for sure. It's something that may be coming down the pipe. I hadn't done one in a year or two. I don't remember the last time I did a high flight. The highest I went this summer was somewhere in the vicinity of 10,000 feet. I don't know. I didn't have an altimeter with me, but it was cold and I was way up there, and it took 45 minutes to get down. But I was thermaling too, though. Yeah, when I came back down into the thermals, I was motor thermaling, and when I killed the motor, I was super high up there. I went to cloud base, kept going. Then when I killed the motor and came back down, I got back into the thermals again, and I just flew around in the thermals for maybe an hour almost. And so the whole flight was a 2-hour flight, and I burned 3 liters of fuel on the 185 Vitarazi. So there was a lot of lift I was utilizing there. Most of the time, 3 liters will get you maybe an hour, depending on what you're doing. 3 to 4 liters an hour is typical burn rate on that 185. Mixture adjustment. Yeah, you'd have to have an external adjustment. I'd looked at a few different ways to do it. I thought about servos maybe, but I don't know. I'm thinking a manual twist on the high jet is going to be the way to do an in-flight mixture adjustment. I probably wouldn't even touch it till I'd climb 6,000-7,000 feet. That was you can burn your engine up if you lean it too much too quick. Yeah, Vitarazi pipe cracked 2 days ago. Dang, man, Vito 185s. Oh, I think the video that's in the queue next is deals with cracked Vitarazi pipes. That's going to be a fun one. I've got a nice image here. Let me share that with you guys. Let's try sharing an image here. I don't know. Let me try to figure this out, guys. Let's see, there's a share, participants, invite. Yeah, again, the whole point of this thing was to see, we're live on YouTube. How do you do a screen share? I wonder what's up. Anybody know how to do a screen share? I don't know if that's a YouTube thing or a Zoom thing. I'm not sure exactly what I need to do to share my screen here. There's a button somewhere. Where? See, that's full screen. More. Invite. Choose a virtual background, video settings. I wonder if I can choose a virtual background while I'm doing this. Here, let me try that. Let me, oh yeah, look at here. I think I got it figured out. Yeah, there we go. Can y'all see that? Let me get out of the way here. Vitarazi crack pipe. Oh, since we're on the subject, right? Y'all like that? Oh, and I was informed that, well, you can't see it when I'm in the way. Let me scoot this direction here. I was informed that this is a meth pipe. I don't know the difference, but that's what somebody told me that I showed the picture to. They said, that's not a crack pipe. That's a meth pipe. Anyway, that's going to be the thumbnail for my next video that comes out, I think. Hope you guys like that one. I don't know that Vitarazi's going to like it very much, but oh well. Maybe they should make better Moster pipes, huh? I don't know. Maybe you can. I know all about crack cocaine because they taught me in pharmacy school. I know all three ways to make it. There's like three different ways you could make a cocaine and crack. So that's kind of funny. We had that lesson. They taught us all the, the nefarious drug stuff as well as the legitimate drug stuff. So it's had a kid, my med chem teacher, Michael Kreider. He took instruction from Albert Hoffman, who was the LSD guy. He was the guy who come up with LSD. So my chemistry teacher was his student. So I guess I'm third generation Hoffman chemist. But we had a whole class on, like, the mescaline, the cocaine, the methamphetamine, all that kind of stuff. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Don't lose your non-existent sponsorship. Exactly. I don't need any sponsors. I do well enough for myself. I went down the sponsorship route on my shooting, and it sort of drained some love out of it. I thought it would be cool, to get sponsors, right? I'm doing well. It's not as cool as you think. I like to be just I like to run my own boat here. That's why I didn't sign up with the USPPA. I really like Jeff's organization. I do. But again, if I sign up under their thing, then I have to do what they say if I'm doing their thing. So I wanted to be in full control. I don't know if that's power freak stuff or whatever, but I got in kind of a tiff on the internet the other day. This fellow was calling me a joke because I wasn't a certified instructor, even though I took their course and passed it. And all I had to do was pay the money and get my name on the list. I chose not to do that. And I thought he was a joke. Anyway, said that you can't fly paramotors in thermal conditions because it's too dangerous. And as somebody that's been doing that for about 5 years now, I thought that was just silly. If you know how to fly in thermal conditions, obviously it's riskier, but I don't think that's what we were talking about. He was just talking about blatantly can't do it, against the rules. Anyway, a lot of discussion about how to sweep us into USPPA. I don't know. I mean, if he wants to put me on the instructor list, that's fine. And again, I'd like to think that I teach, from the syllabus mostly, but there are some things that I didn't exactly agree with, like numbers of flights. Some guys, they have it immediately after 5 to 10 flights. Some guys, it takes 50. And then, they got these numbers written down, like you have to have 25 flights before you can get like your next rating or whatever. And that's fine and dandy, but what's a rating? It's just a piece of paper, some numbers, some letters. It's I guess I kind of understand it if it's a requirement, but it's not a requirement in this country. And again, that would be extra money I'm paying and authority that I would be handing over as to what I want to do with my school. I like to run it the way I like to run it, just a one-man show out of my garage, and that keeps the tuition fees down. It keeps me happy and the students happy, and try to remain sort of flexible. And if I start signing with organizations and having to pay insurance and fees and paperwork, that takes away time and money and stuff that I could be spending with the students on the field doing these things. How big are thermals feet per minute? They come in all different shapes and sizes, Walter. Some are big and scary and will suck you to your death, and some are too mild to do anything except pick up a dragonfly. So it's yeah. Don't give in to the man. You do you. I'm reading comments now, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, Joey. Yeah, carabiners snapping that is a bit freaky every time you see it. Typically, those are aluminum alloy carabiners, and they've been overused for years. Typically, I'm not saying you can't have a defect in one and it cut loose on you, but carabiners are an important connection. And yeah, that's something that could happen, typically not with motoring. You usually see that on tandem stuff, and tandem stuff that is overused a lot, and doing spirals, high G maneuvers. That's usually when you see stuff failing, and there may be other factors there too. The ones that I see. Um, oh yeah, my phone's going off. Excuse me. What else are we looking at here? USPPA. There's if it comes to regulate, you can show yourself regulated. Yeah, yeah. And I've got nothing against that organization. If there was an organization that I would align myself with, it definitely would be that one. They've got it going on. I've got nothing against them. It's yeah, I've hung out with Jeff. I like what he's throwing. I use his materials. I took his classes. I mean, all I gotta do is, I guess, pay the money and sign up, and I could be a certified USPPA instructor. But I just chose not to. It's just a personal decision. There's nothing. Again, I'm not because I don't like what they're doing. I really do, and I think it's a good thing. Um, Instructors come in all shapes, flavors, and sizes. Some of are affiliated, and some are not affiliated. But that's something that instructor has to make on their own. I'm in sort of a kind of a funny spot outside of a lot of the people that sign up and become certified instructors. That may be one way to get your name out there, but through this YouTube channel and the I guess notoriety or whatever you call it out here on the internet, people can look and see who they're getting involved with me, and that brings a lot of people into my school because they know who I am because of the videos that I've been making all these years. And that's kind of it's sort of a pseudo marketing thing, although that was never the point of this channel. I no desire to even teach when I started making the videos. I just wanted to make videos, still do. But kind of an odd side effect of that is people can look into my life and see what I'm doing, how I'm teaching, what I'm throwing out there. And that gives a lot of people peace of mind as to who they're getting involved with versus picking a name off of an instructor list and calling them up and saying, hey, I want to learn paramotor. You don't know who you're calling or what they're doing or anything like that. There's all different flavors, just like cops, doctors, nurses, and teachers. Some are good, some are bad. Just because they're affiliated or certified doesn't make them better or worse. It's just a thing. It's just a thing. You're going to have about 2 to 5 a-holes in every 100 people that you come across in this world, and then the majority of them are going to be just regular people, and then 4 to 5 of them are going to be really overly nice people, and no bad bones about them. And that's just anything really. Real down to earth genius. Oh, thanks there, Caleb. I know that I'm a genius. They tested me once. I didn't even get the results. Actually, the guy said there was no way to score what I did because I gave him a bunch of answers after the test that I had thought about. After the IQ test was complete, I gave him a whole bunch of answers I didn't give during the test because I didn't have the answers at that point. And he was kind of dumbfounded. He's like, man, I don't even know how we can score that. Nobody's ever done that. That was kind of a funny thing, I thought. Mr. Thumbs Down. Oh, there's 2 thumbs downers now. It's funny. Yeah, who would have thought that somebody would thumbs down this? Maybe the Italians are watching and they can see the Viterazzi crack pipe. Am I leaning the right way? Is this the right way? I suck at green screen. Fun stuff. Yep. I hope everybody gets the joke. Thumbs down. Still use the tow machine. I built my tow machine, Brad. I use it from time to time. If I got 2 to 3 people needing to fly and they've got what they need and the conditions are right. Conditions are the biggest thing for towing. We got to have like some pretty good straight laminar wind that doesn't have a lot of cross to it. If I'm going to do tow ops, we get that pretty often, but for everything to align, what typically works out is about once a month, I'll break out and do a tow operation. And that's excluding if I'm doing like and that's training. You know, if it's like a good thermal day and I got some established pilots around, we'll do a different type of tow up. Excuse me, where we'll just tow ourselves and go up and do thermal flying. And those are two different type of things. The training is what I typically use that for most. And again, we got to have a certain set of good conditions for the new guys to do first flights. We also do a class beforehand where like a chalkboard session, talk about all the different things that can happen and what to look for. Just some forethought so we don't just strap them and jerk them and throw them into the sky. Yeah. Been on a tow up day with you. Well, come on, Kevin. Sign up. Let's go fly. Heck yeah. Oh, down boat. Tail. Mm-mm-mm. You shall not be named. What's the downside of flying without trims? I don't know. There's a downside. Trim tabs are good for motor flying because you can let the wing go faster without having to mash the speed bar for extended periods of time. Just because it doesn't have trims, it just means that if you want to increase the speed of your glider, you'll have to use speed bar. I prefer trims with paramotors and I prefer speed bar with free flying wings. And that's probably what you've got there is a free flight wing. They usually do not have trim sets that you can adjust it. They're also handy if your glider goes out of trim. You can just let some trim out and that puts it right back where it needs to be. I've come across gliders that were old and the front A's had stretched and the back lines had shrank and they were real doggy and they wouldn't stay up. You couldn't fly them. And you let the trims out and it puts it back into a proper configuration. Although if your glider is that bad out of trim, you probably want to send it in and have everything checked anyway. We'll be pulling any high G's on that. Did y'all see Tom lose his speed bar link? That's one thing that the reason I don't do speed bar on motor very often. I mean, I've done it a few times. 3 times in my free flying years, I've had the speed bar become disconnected at some point between launch and the first time that I pushed the bar. The sister clip has come unhooked, and that's without a motor. That's with free flying. So should that happen with a motor, the first thing that's going to happen is that speed bar line is going to get sucked into the propeller. Your stuff's going to get wrecked because of it. So whenever I'm do speed bar on a motor, I'll usually connect those sister clips and tape them together with a little patch of duct tape, just so they won't come undone, just as a safety catch, you know, a backup. And it's a little extra work. You got to pull out the tape and get it ready. And when you're clipping in, you got to tape them up. And the same reason I don't like using chase cams. It's just an extra hassle, man. I'm trying to keep things simple. If I want to launch, I'll put on a paramotor and strap it to a wing, look at the windsock, and go out there and do it. Maybe a Vario if there's thermals around, maybe not. But the simpler, the better. That's the whole thing that led me to these craft in the first place. Was the fact that they're simple craft. Damn, I'm leaking. Anyhow, yeah, that's the beauty of a paramotor is the simplicity, the convenience. It's just you and the wing and the throttle, and it's pretty neat. I enjoy it. I enjoy teaching it too. First time I seen a speed bar work like a decade ago. Yeah, speed bar is great. Again, it's mandatory if you're flying without a motor because that's how you can punch through the sink to get to the next band of lift. If you're free flying, you know, thermal flying, or if you need to penetrate, if you're in a spot like on the edge of a mountain where the air's compressed and sped up, you may get blown backwards. If you have a speed bar, you can push that bar and penetrate through that faster air and get back out in front where you need to be. So, you know, speed bar, nothing. Pros and cons. I mean, almost everything we do, there's pros and there's cons. It's not like one's bad all the time and one's good all the time. You know, you can have different configurations for different conditions or skill levels, and that's always been the case. That's why the answers seem so shady sometimes. Like, you know, what should I get? Is, you know, a question that we can have wildly varying answers based on location, conditions, pilot skill, etc. There's no right answer. There's some wrong answers maybe, but there's no one right answer. Hmm. Yeah, Carlos. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Yeah, everybody's invited to come train. I love doing it. Yeah, Montana's on the list, Chad. I'm planning on preliminary plans are to hit the Pacific Northwest at the end of the summer this coming year. August 2020-ish is what I'm looking at. I don't have dates yet, but I may do kind of a paracarnival style trip where, if you want to come along or meet me along the way, I'll just post the destinations as they come. It'll be a day-to-day thing, just sort of a weather chase. That's how I prefer to travel, is no real destination, just the journey. I say no destination. Obviously, I'm aiming north and west, but I like to go really far north and really far west and check that area out. I've never done that section of the country. The extreme northeast is the other part I've not explored. I've been basically everywhere else, like all the environmental realms between Southern California to Florida, all the way across the South. I've explored, and I've gone north as far as Ohio, Great Lakes. I've gone to North Carolina, Georgia, all through there, Wyoming, Colorado, Nevada, Utah. I've checked those places out. The last thing I got left is sort of like the Dakotas, Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Northern California. That's sort of my aim, what I would like to do at the end of the next summer. And just take my motors and my free flight gear and just sort of wander around and go from place to place and check out the things, a good old paracarnival road trip. People could tag along or they can meet me along the way. I really, really got a kick out of that when we did that eclipse trip. That was a fun way to travel. I think I'll do more of that in the future. I was really, besides missing the family and being away from home, I really enjoyed that. That's nice. I'm down to South Carolina. Yeah. Again, the limited travel that I have, I'd really like to go places I've not been first. And then I still want to go to Florida. There's a lot of people in Florida I'd like to meet up with and fly with, but Florida is so close to Louisiana as far as the environment. I mean, it's typically the same stuff that you see there that I've got here. So, besides the people, traveling is more of checking out the environment for me. I love the people too. And that, the trips could be both, or they could be geared towards one or the other. If you're traveling to meet people, that's one thing. Traveling to fly and explore is another thing. And then there's both, there's overlap there as well. But if I could overlap them, flying and exploring and meeting people along the way, that's really, really my personal travel goals. But yeah. Oh, I just realized the crack pipe's still behind me. Let me take that off of there. Anybody logging on? What's this guy talking about? Oh, Lord. Maybe we shouldn't put that on there. I am a pharmacist. I may have people that don't understand the joke. Okay, now I can't figure out how to get it off. What did I push? Oh, I believe it was this more section. No. There it is. Choose a virtual background. Got some different stuff here. We could go to space. I like the space one. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I'll get good at this one day. Oh. Heck yeah. Say the easiest launching wing you have ever used. Most stable in turbulence. Stability and turbulence, I don't really rely on the wing anymore. It's your active pilot inputs that keep a wing stable. That's the goal of learning how to fly, is to make the wing do what you want, not rely on the wing to keep you safe in turbulence, but picking the turbulence. I say imagining, it's invisible. You don't see it, but you have to put some forethought as to where it is and how big it is and what it feels like. When you're flying through like big thermal turbulence, again, there's the edges of the thermals where you're going to find that. If you're in the core or you're in the sink, it's pretty smooth. But when you transition, You've got to put the inputs into the wing to keep it open, or that thing will flip and fold and shoot and go wherever it wants. You know, relying on the wing to handle that is wrong. It's the wrong kind of thinking. For learning to fly, it's fine to have some good beginner passive safety on board, but that's not how you fly. You don't rely on the wing to keep you safe. You keep yourself safe through your inputs. That's what it's the pilot that's controlling it, not the. If you're letting the wing do the work for you, you're not piloting. You're just along for the ride, and that's wrong. That's wrong way to fly. So the best wing in turbulence is the one that you can control fully in turbulence. Easiest launching wing. Most your intermediate gliders are probably some of the easiest launching wings. Beyond the beginner wings, but before you get to the super high aspect ratio, high performance stuff, they're harder to ground handle. It's because they're long and skinny. But yeah, the intermediate gliders are the easiest launching wings as far as I could tell. The lightweight, properly loaded intermediate gliders. The Colorado comes to mind. That wing just pops up so nice and gentle. Nucleon, the Sirocco 2, Universal's pretty good. It's more of a beginner glider. Any of the lightweight stuff, the Spiders, yeah. If it's light and of moderate efficiency, it's going to be easy to launch. So that's my take on that. But stability and turbulence is up to the pilot, not the wing, hopefully. Speed bar and brakes. Yeah, if you got a full now reflex gliders, you're talking like a little different territory. If I'm in turbulence, again, I'm going to pull that reflex back in, and I'm going to go back to a more classic configuration with my hands on the brakes and controlling the glider. I don't want to dump the trimmers and just plow through anything. That's not how you fly, man. You're letting the wing keep you safe when you should be keeping yourself safe. So that, yeah, the Warp 16. Warp 16 is good at what it does. It rolls hard, turns fast, squirrely as all get out. That's what you want for a fast slalom wing. Get super loaded on that thing and carve through the pylons. But you notice those guys doing the pylon races. Have you ever seen them have a collapse? What's the first thing that happens? Plow, in the water they go. You don't fly that kind of wing low. That's trouble, asking for trouble. That's why they do it over water. People were getting killed on the dirt. The Charger. Yeah, Charger's a good wing too. I like the Charger. I've had a few of those come through the school. Put your hands up, let the wind. Nope, that's not what you do in turbulence. It's you want to stay fast. You want to keep that glider over your head. If it shoots out in front of you, jam the brakes. If it falls back behind you, let up on them. If it shoots to the right, you bang the left. If it shoots to the left, you bang the right. And that keeps the glider right over your head where gravity's pulling you down. That's how you fly in turbulence. It's as easy as the sentences I just said. There's nothing more to it than that. If you can do that consistently in moderate conditions, you do the same thing in big conditions, but you got to have those reflexes. A lot of it is sort of a reflexive thing. When you're flying in turbulent conditions, if the turbulence is due to thermal lift, now I'm kind of specifying here, there's also turbulence from wind shear. And that may not be anything you could do with that. Hopefully you checked your winds aloft before you fly. And if you're punching through a gradient, I'll just say it here. Hopefully you know which way the wind is changing. You didn't just blindly launch into the sky without knowing what's happening with the sky. That's such an important thing. But when you take off and you're climbing and there's a wind gradient, say the wind is crisscrossing, like let's go extreme, like 120-degree shift in the wind direction, and the speeds increase after that shift, 10, 12 miles an hour, 15, let's go big, right? Now, if you punch into that gradient and that wind, that strong wind is coming from behind, and you fly up into that gradient, that wind is going to hit your glider and it's going to fold it up. It's going to push it out in front of you, and you're going to fall until that thing reopens. All right. Now, if you're flying long and say you're going downwind and the gradient is coming at you, you punch through that and your wing falls back and then it comes back over you and you keep flying. So if you're going to punch into a wind gradient, you want to punch into the headwind that's the strongest wind that's on top. I can't think of a situation where you'd have a stronger wind below you outside of maybe a Venturi in the mountains. But if you're climbing through a standard wind gradient, the strongest wind is going to be the top wind that you're climbing into. And when you climb into that wind, you want to climb straight into it so that it hits the nose of that glider, not the backside of it. You climb into it and it hits the backside, it's going to fold your shit up. And if you're not high enough, you're going to be in the dirt before it recovers. That's just how you do it. Again, I see videos of people climbing through shit and it folds them, and either they didn't look, didn't care, or just blindly flying into the sky. But that's wrong. That's the wrong kind of thinking. You want to look at the gradient if you know it's there, and you can feel the turbulence before you get to it. You want to position yourself though so that you're flying straight into that. Now, the thing about winds aloft and wind gradients is that data is real data. They launch balloons every day and get that data. It's not just a guess. That's one of the parameters that you can actually find and get, readings twice a day on winds aloft through the balloon launches. Radio signs is what they're called. And the weather guys launch those balloons twice a day, every day, and get data on the winds aloft and everything else as well that picked up on those meters. And that's weather balloons. So yeah, you can get real readings on what the wind's doing. You know where it's changing, especially if the data is relatively new. If the reports came in an hour before and you go up and you'll fly through a gradient, you'll know where it's at, which way it's going, and you can position yourself to punch through that gradient in a safe manner. So I thought I would include that there. That might save somebody sometime. So I like to say stuff that helps people and doesn't hurt them. Yeah, recent video where a guy hit shear. Yeah, he probably hit it wrong. It's either too much or too cross, or again, it's only going to fold. Your glider's only going to collapse when it shoots out in front of you. They won't collapse behind you. They might stall, but if it rocks back, it's going to come forward, and it's when it gets past you that it folds and tucks and carries on. You're straight into the wind. Even if you're flying into a strong wind, it's just going to rock straight back. It may flip you back all the way and may be scary, but the glider's going to be open. It's not, it's still going to be a wing, right? And when it shoots, you can catch the shoot with your brakes or your thrust. With a motor, you've got thrust and brakes. So when it rocks back, you come off the power, come off the brakes. As the glider comes back, you jam the brakes, jam the power, and that pushes everything back the way it needs to be. So there you go. Meter unassisted. Is it possible? 10,000 meters. Shit, that's like 30 something thousand feet. I think a guy did almost that free flying in the Himalayas a couple years ago. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, a lot of stuff possible. I mean, we launched shit into outer space, 30 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago, they launched some shit into outer space. To think you couldn't get a paraglider or a paramotor to 30,000 feet, that's probably doable. That's one of the more reasonable things in the world. You'd have to have some super special setups, but not impossible. Oh, 10,000 miles unassisted. Damn, I don't even know if you could get 10,000 miles across any continent here. Can you? I don't know. You'd be going around the world a time or two, maybe. I mean, unassisted. I don't know what's possible. Anything's possible. You need a gas station in the Arctic at some point. Fuel range. Yeah, you can use thermals if they're there. I've thought about doing something weird like that where I fill the fuel up and climb up and just thermal through the whole course of a day, and then go as far as I can, like a long distance cross country, then crank the motor when the thermals die out and just push on and see if there's some sort of distance record that could be attained. But I'm not a record chaser. I'm not even a miles chaser, to be honest. I mean, when it's XC conditions, I just go up and throw them around. I can go far and I have, but it's not something that I want to do regularly. It's I go up and practice for an hour or two and I'm good. I'll go back home and do chores. If I've flown for an hour or two and I've gone 50, 60 miles, then I'm spending the rest of the day hitchhiking home and, getting back, which is all fun, but that's well, not the way that I like to do it. If I've got a ride available and somebody's coming anyway, yeah, heck yeah, I'll go for it. But you know, gathering miles is not something that I've ever been super into. It's kind of neat at first, when you push yourself, test yourself, see how far you can go. But excuse me, and that hurts. Mm, those drugs aren't kicking in fast enough, guys. Ibuprofen. I took ibuprofen, if you're wondering. Preference. Oh, Fly Guy, what's up, man? Sorry you're in Canada this time of year. It's getting ugly, isn't it? Free flying or motoring? Man, that question has always been a question. It's like this, right? Motoring is like your meat and potatoes. I mean, that's your sustenance. That's what you're gonna get. Free flying's like your caviar, man. That's your luxury stuff. Really love free flying, probably more, but you don't get it as often. It's the icing on the cake, but the cake is good too, and that's your motor flying. I like to do both. No, Jeff, the pharmacy's open, but I'm sick with something, and I'm not going to go up there and cough on everybody with a headache. So I've got two pharmacists working for me today, and I'm going to stay here and cough all over the studio, I guess. I'll catch it next week when I come back in here and get it again. But yeah, free flying, motor flying. I'm not a purist on either, man. Both have their place. Free flying is a special thing that when I get it, I really love it. I love it so much. But if that was all I did, I wouldn't do it as often. I wouldn't have near the experience. And again, strapping on a motor and launching out of the front yard is something I could never do with a free flight setup. You got to travel, you got to tow, you got to get a ride usually. Um, anyway, that's where I stand on that. Is I like both. Free flight I probably like better, but motor I would never give up for it just because I can do it so much more. And you can free fly with the motor. It's not, just because it's on your back doesn't mean you can't practice your skills. So yeah. Now, free flight doesn't have to have a USHPA rating, but if you're going to use launch sites, and I am affiliated with that group, the reason being is most of your launches and landings have insurance requirements by the landowners, and USHPA covers a lot of the insurance as far as covering people who own those sites, property owners. With motors, you can take off from, again, your options are basically limitless versus free flight sites. And you could tow up, go out in the desert and tow up with your buddies and, behind a boat at a lake, whatever. You don't have to have a USHPA rating to do this. It's not a requirement either. But to have access to most of these launch sites like Torrey Pines or most of your mountain locations that landowners have, yeah, that's why I'm signed up with those guys and why I will continue to be. And then most of your local sites, wherever that place may be, usually there's a club involved. You have to pay like a visitor's fee, and they require you to be a USHPA rated pilot. So there's some pros to that. Yeah, owning your own site, that's a good option. Buy a little piece of mountain and carve a spot off of it. But then you got the LZ. Who owns the LZ? You'd have to own two pieces of land for a proper launch and landing if you wanted to do that. Again, that's thousands of dollars. A USHPA membership, I believe, is $150 a year for a pilot. If I was going to do instruction with USHPA, it goes way up. You're paying somewhere around $1,000, if I'm not mistaken, if they even let you. There was a big, I'll call it a scandal. I don't know all the details, where they cut out a lot of the like small time guys that just run a paraglider school, like, traveling around kind of like I do, but they're doing it on the mountains. They were trying to get it so that only the biggest schools at the biggest locations had the opportunity to afford the instructor certification through that organization. Um, so yeah, I don't want to instruct on that. I teach you how to fly. That's not the issue, but giving ratings with that organization would require that certification, instructor certification. Yeah, yeah, kiting's important no matter what, Kevin, but especially for free flying. I agree. Kiting's your skill. Schools that don't teach it are really, really cutting you short on your skills, because every flight starts and stops with a kiting session. If you're not good at it, you're going to fumble at some point, and it's either going to cause you injury or damage gear or both. If you have good kiting skills, as soon as you land, that's going to be the immediate thing that you go to. And if you're piss poor at it, you're going to land and you might be a little crooked, and that's when you get wrecked. So that's apparently, yeah, Tucker's park got taken away. I guess they have to have permits now. That sounds fun. I'd probably just go to another place. Yeah, yeah, it's the one person complaining. As it turns out, I found a complainer locally to me. I didn't know that I had one. There's a lady down the road here. I have to fly over their house if I take off from my property and go towards town. There's really no bailouts outside of that path that I take. So even if I go really high, she said that her dog goes ape shit crazy every time I fly over. And she was like, I wished you wouldn't fly over our place because my dog goes nuts. And I mean, of all the things, right? The horses seem to be fine, the cows seem to be fine, but because the dog barks, like, that's why she don't like me doing it. And again, I'm usually 1,000 feet over the top of their place. It's not like I'm buzzing the yard or something. But yeah, that was some feedback that I got at some point, I guess a year or so ago, and offered her my apologies and said that I'll try to stay high when I cross that section from now on. But I can't not fly over there because that's my safety zone. I'm not going to give up what I love because of one person. Sounds like that place where Tucker lives is trying to force people out of that. I don't know. I can't speak for those cats, but I share this world with everybody else. Everything I do is not going to make everybody happy, and I know that. Knew that for a long time, and try to not be a dick about it. And that's all you can really do. And heck yeah, yeah. Fly Guy, why don't you come down to Louisiana if you ever get away? Right? We got warm weather sometimes during the winter. Mm-mm. How much do I have left? Not bad, not bad. So hey, I tell y'all what, I was thinking about getting off, but if y'all just give me a second, I think I'm gonna go get a refill and some Kleenex, and then I'll come back and I'll just keep chilling with you for a little while. Um, Uno momento, por favor. That means hold on one moment, please. Ugh. I'm back. My tissue. There we go. Hey, Gizzard, come here, buddy. You want to be on the internet? Look, y'all, there's Gizmo. He hates people, but he don't even know y'all are there. What's up, dude? No, not gonna lick me in the mouth today. He licks his dick, so I don't let him lick me in the mouth. This Gizmo, guys. He's a hoot. All right, so I'm back, refilled, wiped off. I'm good now. We all know it's flat. Oh, flat Earth. I love my flat Earth references. Those are funny. Oh, dude, what you been doing today, huh? He seems chill. Still not a pilot yet. Is your paramotor louder than a Cessna? Yeah, I don't know that it's louder. Probably not. Nah, I would think not. But they're usually higher, and I don't know. Maybe the dog goes nuts over those guys too. But it's custom lettering logo. Yeah, I would talk to Eric down there at the Aviator PPG. I believe I saw that they offered like vinyl stickers for paramotor wings. That's something that could be talked to with those guys. Maybe somebody else that runs a vinyl shop could hook you up, like those big industrial kind of shops that do van wraps and things like that. They've probably got the equipment to do vinyl wrap stuff. I've never kite surfed, Joey, but I got to tell you, of all the people that come through the paramotor school, the guys who have kite surfing experience can almost immediately kite the paraglider. Like whatever they do on that sport translates pretty much directly over to paragliding control. And they seem to have a really firm grip on it. I thought some guys were pranking me one time. They showed up for a lesson and I started teaching them how to kite, and these guys immediately were kiting in full control. And I was like, is this a joke, man? Who sent y'all, right? They were like, no, we're kiteboarders, so this is similar to what we do. And I was like, okay. And then I had another guy once again that come through who had that experience and was able to do it. So that's something that came up. There's really no other skill that translates in this world to controlling a paraglider except for the kiteboarding, apparently. Like if you're good at sewing or like yoga, like that's not going to make you a good kiter guy, but kiteboarders seem to do okay. Yeah, let's see what else. Oh, my electric gloves that I use for cold weather flying. Well, the charger vanished over the summer and the batteries are dead, so I had to order a new charger. I use those power in motion gloves, and I've got some outer shells for when it's real cold that goes over them. But those feel nice. Like Ross Gasaway turned me onto those gloves, and I've been using them. And I think maybe Woody uses them too. So, huh, buddy? So yeah, they will. Maybe I'll have some warm gloves coming soon. Where do people stay when training with you? Yeah, there's campsites and motels, and hotels, and depending on your level of luxury, we got like I call them roach motels, but I think they're actually clean on the inside. Step up from camping. We've not come across any insect activity in them, but yeah, there's a hotel right there in town, and some people bring RVs and camp out. And there's an RV park right in the center of town. It's got a big area for kiting next to it as well, so that's nice. And then I've got the airport. If you want to do primitive camping, the airport people told me people could camp right there if they're doing primitive camping. So there's places to stay around. There's not much to do. Definitely places to stay. There, yeah, Airbnb. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Camped in the van. What do you do down at the pharmacy? I'm a pharmacist. I fill prescriptions, compound medications, answer the phone, deal with insurance companies. Probably deal with insurance companies more than anything. Tell people that their stuff is no longer covered. That's typically what I say. Sadly, it's yep, pharmacy. You gonna chill with me or you want down? I think he's happy just sitting in my lap. Here, look. Look at him, fella. What do you see there? I got a delay on here. That's funny. He has no idea. Just in a dog's world. Oh, excuse me. What you want? You want down or you just moving? I don't know what he wants. He don't know what he wants. You want to smell my ear? What are you smelling of? Anyway. In the USA, do you need a license to take someone on tandem? I believe foot launch training gets an exemption. You don't really have to have a license, but there's an exemption available through the FAA. I'm also a private pilot, so I have a private pilot's license as well, although we're talking about two different kinds of flight there, but I believe I'm good to go with passengers due to that. I thought about getting a little, what do you call it? Like maybe a PPC, light sport, something to, or now they allow a wheeled exemption as well, wheeled tandem exemptions for paramotors. I've got a foot launch tandem rig that I use for my school, taking students up, but it's in there somewhere, but no, not typically a license. Although if somebody's doing tandem, I would recommend several years experience before you go down that route. Had a guy call me recently talking about, I want a motor big enough to carry two people and I'm going to be flying over the river. I was like, man, those are two of the worst ideas you can have at this point. You got to, yeah, hey, what's up? Dave Ruff joined the chat here. Yeah, so I don't know. Okay, now I've got an idea. Dave, how do we link up? Do you get on your Zoom and we have a meeting? I need to, I'm trying to flex my Zoom nuts, if you know what I mean, like figure out all the different buttons to push. And one of these days, maybe we can have like group chats with other people who have the app. I don't know how to do that. Maybe share your meeting or something. You can call into your Zoom. I want to join. Yeah, who's got a Zoom? Let's make this a group thing. I don't know what else to say. I could probably talk all day about nonsense, but if other people are on here, we could listen to you guys too. There should be a code to give Dave. Click the invite and you can send the URL. Let's see here. Let me invite. Okay. Choose from the list or type to filter. I don't have a list here. There's email. I don't know that I have anybody's email. Copy the URL. Okay, I copied the URL. And then maybe I can I can't text it from this stupid computer here. I've got to, whoop, that didn't work. Did I close my YouTube? What in the heck? Now I can't see the chat anymore. Oh, there it is. Oh, I had two windows open. I clicked on the wrong one. All right. Close that. Oh, wait, maybe I'll go on this one and do Facebook maybe. Let's see. Upper left screen, there's a meeting ID. All right, stand by. We're going to go on to Facebook Messenger. Lovely app. New message. All right, who wants to come here? Let's see. Internet's running slow. Somebody must be using the bandwidth. Who could that be? New message. All right, Dave. Try that. There's a I sent you an invite link, maybe. I don't know if that's how that works or not. Let's see. Kevin can fly. Kevin, are we friends on Facebook? How, send me the code. Meeting ID. Dale Tech Support. Number of the Zoom you're on. Da, 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 da. Stem to stern, talking about being loaded on a heavy on a B or lighter on a C. I like to be loaded heavy on any wing of any category. That's just my personal preference. The only time I like to be lighter is if I'm in lighter conditions. I think the dog wants down. Take off, dog. Oh, 50 or more people. Loser figuring out the interweb. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. Y'all bear with me for a moment. This might get boring for a second. I'll try to find meeting codes and shit so that I can send what is this? A meeting ID? I don't know. Oh, there you are, Kevin. You're not under Kevin. That's why I couldn't find you. Okay, here, try this. There, I just sent that to Kevin. There's a meeting ID on the upper left screen. There's a password. Okay, let me go. I'm getting there, boys. I'm getting there. I swear we're gonna make this work. Figure out the Zoom. Zoom. Okay, we're gonna copy that, or maybe let's copy everything. Can I? No. Meeting ID. Let's copy that one. And then click over to here. Okay, and there's the meeting number. And here's the meeting number. All right, and then let me get this code here, maybe. Password. No, you need a password. That's what it is. All right. Go back here and then password. Boom. Password. Boom. Okay, Dave, Kevin, I sent you guys the URL, the meeting ID, and the password. Let's see if this works. I don't know. Nope, something just happened. Ah, there's Dave Ruff. Okay, now I can't hear you. I don't know. Do I need headphones on, or is this giving feedback? Nope, something just happened. Ah, there's Dave Ruff. Yeah. Okay, now
I got headphones.
Do I need headphones on, or is this giving feedback? Nope, something just happened. Ah, there's Dave Ruff. Yep. Hold on. Let me get some headphones on. I'll be right back.
You bet.
You cannot drive like that.
Actually, I can. I've done meetings this way before. What's up, everybody? Forgive me, I just got home from Florida. What's up, everybody? Forgive me,
All right. Can you hear me now? And we're not feeding back?
Yeah, I don't think we're feeding back anymore. Can
Cool.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right. So you're gonna flip around. You're actually attached to my steering wheel right now.
Okay, I'm getting some delay. I need real time here.
Well, there's about a 30-second delay for broadcast. Ah. Here, we'll just do it this way. There we go. Yeah, from the time that you talk to the time that everybody hears, it's about 15 to 20 seconds. But as far as for you and I, it should be instantaneous. Unless your internet's real slow.
Okay, I muted the YouTube channel, but now I'm on the Zoom app and I'm seeing if
Yeah, so when we started up, you know how you and it's on, you click that screen off immediately as soon as you start your broadcast. Otherwise, you're going to start getting a hellacious amount of feedback. And then to see the comments, fire up your phone and read your comments from your phone.
okay, so let's try that then.
Do you remember that show I did when I interviewed Bo Fillman and I had that hellacious feedback? Did you ever watch that?
I've seen some different stuff that had, and I knew this would be kind of like a learning curve, dude. That's the whole point of going and doing this deal right now is, so you're hearing me in like real time. When I'm talking now, you can hear what I'm saying.
Yep, you and I are in real time and it's being broadcasted with about a 15 to 30-second delay.
Okay, now I can, I think we're caught up. Now I'm seeing and hearing what I need to be.
Yeah.
At first it was delayed.
The second that you start that meeting, you go in there and you type in your subject and you hit start meeting, it's going to come up with that YouTube screen. Just X that out and shut it down. And then down on your taskbar, you'll be able to hit the button and see the Zoom screen. And then you'll just have to read the comments from another device.
Yeah, okay. So here we are. Now I got the chat on the phone, and of course it would be neat if I could put the phone like here so that I'm looking at the audience instead of.
Yeah, we always need to figure out how to do that stuff. Oh, I'm glad you figured it out. I was actually kind of surprised to hear from you the other night.
Yeah.
So I looked down and I was like, oh my God, the great Kyle O'Glee is calling me.
Yeah, I never did get it figured out. I was that night, it wouldn't cooperate. I was gonna do like a Saturday Night Live, or I think it was Saturday night. And it
I think it was.
It never did connect. I was something about the MacBook and Google and Zoom didn't want to play nice. It was beyond me. Again, hence the title of this video, Loser Figuring Out the Internet.
It's okay. I had the same one. I did the same video like 2 weeks ago. So
Hey, look at there. Kevin joined us.
Hey, Kevin.
My computer was slow. I didn't want to interrupt you, so I just let you finish your thought.
Oh, cool.
What's up, brother man?
Oh, you know, Monday morning, playing with the kids, getting ready to go on my PPL lessons. I got flight training today and ground school tonight.
Oh, darn. Poor thing.
Check it out.
To go
gallery view. Now, hey, when I click gallery view, does that change the view for the viewers as well? Okay, it does. Look at there. Now we can.
The
now
we're on YouTube.
There. Okay. Yeah, I'm fumbling my way through this stuff instead of having it flash back and forth. If you have, I think it's cooler if you have all the faces on there at once.
Yeah, I think that the admin can control that for the viewers, and then each guest can control it from themselves. I think is how it works. Because right now I can only see one of you at a time, but I'm also on my phone, so.
Yeah, and I'd used the app on my phone in a previous show. Maybe I don't know if it was with yours or Robert's at Paraglide and Talk. I think it was Paraglide and Talk was when I actually downloaded the Zoom app and tried it. And then I saw that the green screen was an option. And the whole point of it was I wanted to use my green screen because I have one and on the app live. And I was, and anyway, I had to pay for it. The scoundrels got me for a $149 for the year. Oh, well.
Yeah, they got all of us, definitely.
But I guess you could be a guest on the show.
They got rid of that.
Just use the app as a guest and you don't have to pay anything, but to do your own.
Yeah, they got rid of that Google Groups, man. Now we got to pay to come out here and have chats with these people. You know, I guess that Patreon really pays off in this regard.
Yeah, man, that's exactly where it came from, man. Way to go. Thanks.
Got to have supporters. Got to have support, that non-existent sponsorship, right?
Right. That's right. It's,
Well, it looks like I came back just in time to catch the rain. It's starting to spit over here now.
yeah, it's gonna rain and then get nasty cold. So you're
Yeah.
Washington, right, Kevin?
I'm in Oregon. I'm in Portland,
Oregon. That's right. It's
Oregon.
all the same thing, right?
More like, well, no. You cross the river, it becomes a whole different dynamic. That's like saying Louisiana and Arkansas are the same place, right?
I live on the state line. It practically is where
Well, so do I. I'm on the state line as well. I'm only 21 miles from being in a whole nother state.
Ooh, heck yeah.
He's across the street, I
Yeah,
think.
I'm
aren't you,
21 feet.
Yeah, Kyle says Kyle 21 feet from the other state.
That's right. That's right.
The mailman delivers the wrong mail. You got to go across state lines to collect it.
That's it, man. We got 2 or 3 mailmen, 2 or 3 buses that come down my road. There's like 3 school districts that pick up kids out here. It's
You fly out of Kyle's runway and you've just completed a cross country when you do your downwind.
that's right.
You cross into another state.
So I got a curious question for you, Kyle. How do you compare towing up to thermaling compared to leaving the side of a hill and collecting a thermal and climbing? How do you feel that those differ?
Right. You don't have a mountain to blow back over, so you got safer bailouts for towing. But then towing, has its own set of risk. If you can do it good, it's not that big of a deal. Towing is probably preferable. The downside is you can't read the thermals as well in the flatlands. It takes a bit more finesse to catch a cycle. You can see one coming up the side of a mountain sometimes and you know when to launch, but
Right.
in the flats, it becomes a little more variable sometimes.
So I haven't done any towing yet, and I'm scheduled to go do some in the spring with one of our local instructors here, and I'm looking forward to it. I just don't have experience, so I figured I'd ask, maybe help out some of the people watching with their thoughts on coming to
You're
the
a pilot. Towing is not
school
that
and
hard.
doing
It's
towing.
catch on after just 1 or 2 tows. You kind of get the idea, and it becomes sort of now. People learning to fly and learning to tow at the same time presents a different set of circumstances. But
I gotta tell you, I peed down my leg a little bit when in your video, you say he's gonna do a reverse launch downwind. I've never seen such a critter. Had me dying.
yeah. I think he didn't do that. That was Mark Radloff.
Yeah.
He's a South African cat, lives up in Missouri or Kansas, right on the border of those 2 states.
Yep.
Good pilot. But they do a lot of towing out there too.
The flatlands, they do a lot of towing on the flatlands. I'm lucky to be on the coast. I mean, we've got coastal soaring almost every day as long as the weather permits. So it's pretty unique.
That's fun too, right? Do you have dunes?
Oh yeah, we've got Cape Kiwanda, which is the one of the biggest training areas in the Pacific Northwest. It's a 300.
Love that place.
It's a 300-foot tall dune that you can just go nuts. You can practice helis, you can practice whatever you want, and really you have a safety of a dune below you.
That's what I'm getting at. I might have to
And then
make
we've
that
got
a stop.
high flight spots. We've got 2 spots that are cliffs, like literally vertical shelf cliffs. So you don't want to have a cravat or something taken off from bad real fast. But I mean, it's laminar thermal soaring. You get up, 1,200 meters, and you can just go hands off, take pictures, whatever you want to do.
Okay, neat.
Yeah,
Like 20 times with much better.
I drive to Oregon for that.
Yeah,
like
Kiwanda is awesome.
Free beer and tacos. You come to my house, buddy. I'll room and board you.
Heck yeah. That's
And then I'll take you
that you don't have to, leave the country for. That's
then I'll take you over to the Central Oregon. We'd go meet up with Nick. We'd go do some motor flying over there and get into some big air because there's some.
In fact, is there any other dunes in the States anywhere?
Oh yeah. There's Christmas Valley, which is kind of in the middle of the state, and that's a big sand play area. And then you go down to the coast, and then you got Sand Lake, which is in Tucker's video. It's a big open dry sand area where you can just fly paramotors all day. I mean, we have a great expanse of.
No, I mean, like for free flight, like Waga type stuff. That
yeah.
That's what
Nick Braun was telling you earlier about coming and trying out his 23 meter where he lives. I was saying I get the Jones. I'm 3 hours flying. Always want to go back out there and fly. It's one of the greatest flying spots in our whole state.
Nice. But I was thinking other places in the country outside of that though. I can't think of any.
if you go down to Glamis, like I forget who it was, someone in the comments posted earlier. If you go to Salton Sea Fly and then you take the hour trip down to Glamis, Glamis is a huge sand area with giant sand dunes to go fly. You can do whatever.
Yeah, but
kind
that's
of-
inland, right? You'd be dealing with thermals and stuff and that.
No, well, maybe I haven't tried to. I mean, what I've been told, and I haven't experienced it, is thermals don't generate well off the sand, so you're able to go out over the dunes and have a lot more entertainment because there's less thermal production.
Huh.
I don't know if that's a fact or not, but that's what
Desert's pretty thermally.
Glamis is thermally. You can get some pretty big air out there, but Kyle, you should be able to handle it pretty easily.
Oh yeah. But I was just, for the Wagga type stuff that I want to do, real low, playing around, that you'd probably want something laminar popping up the slope to do that kind of stuff. I would anyway. And then either way, I can fly in thermals. Yeah, I was looking for the baby pool to play with.
Well, like Cape Kiwanda is for us is the baby pool, but it's like the most perfect spot because you can practice kiting of any kind. I mean, we have clinics that we hold out there. Harrison, one of the guys I mentioned earlier, he is a phenomenal kiter, maybe one of the best kiters I've seen in a long time. He started a YouTube group. It's called Chronicles of Kiting. If you guys want to check that out, it's dedicated to ground control and controlling your wing beyond just standard flying. And
that's where the money's at. That's the guys who are good at kiting are good at everything, right?
If you can kite, you can, like we were talking earlier, big air, it's like if you can kite on the ground when it's rowdy, you probably keep your wing open in the air when it's rowdy.
Exactly. That's where I'm at with it. And the guys that I've flown with that live in windy areas, we don't get a lot of wind here. If we do, it's usually way too much to mess with. But when we do, I try to capitalize on that. But the guys who live in places that are windy, they're just like artists out there with the wings, just painting the skills into the sky there.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Goals, man. Goals. Move to a windy place.
Well, I mean, and then one of the questions came up earlier is like, what's your thoughts on kiting mini wings and uncertified wings versus, using a full size wing to kite? What's
kite
your thoughts
anything, man.
Kite anything. Kite it all, fly it all, right?
Yeah, that's right. I use the mini wings to teach people to kite when it's strong because they can still get the skills that they need without the risk of getting plucked or jerked or, mangled up.
The only accident I've ever had was on a mini wing. I had the thing jet all around on me the hill while I was in a full twist. I had to get above the twist and then fly the lines well above the twist. And I wound up slamming into the sand downwind about 30 miles an hour and didn't feel very good.
I just flexed my Zoom skills. I muted Dave because he was making a lot of racket. Hey, there's Sarah. Here, let me unmute him.
I can't hear you, but I see you.
There you are. Oh, he's got the headphones in.
Yeah, I can hear you. She can't. Here, hold on for a second. Put this on. Talk to him.
Are we going to the Red Barn?
No, I'm going to be really evil. I'm going to Whataburger because Kevin's on.
But we need to go to the Red Barn because it's a lot better than Whataburger.
Is that what you call the trailer, the Red Barn?
Meal planning.
Oh, the Red Barn is awesome.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Home cooking.
So you're back in town just in time for the bad weather, right, Sarah?
Yeah. Yeah, the temperatures
did you get to practice any kiting out there at the fly-in?
I didn't go to the fly-in. He did.
Oh, okay. I thought y'all were hanging out together. My bad. So have you been practicing kiting at all?
I don't have any wings here to practice with except some 38-meter monstrosity.
So you've been in Texas?
Just for a couple of days.
Oh,
I just got back like Friday.
I was thinking you just didn't want to come hang out with me, Sarah. That was
nah.
Heck yeah. It's we've had some really good air most of the last week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice. I mean, minus the thermal stuff, but the evening winds have been like 5 mile an hour steady. Beautiful, beautiful. Like I've had, heck yeah. I done three first flights this week. Kevin with the drones, man. How many are you gonna pull out there? Heck yeah. I had one. I killed it.
This is my toy room. I call it my office, but it's really my toy room. I got 2 3D printers, more than a dozen airplanes, a dozen quadcopters. If I,
Yeah.
like we were saying earlier, if you can't fly something, you fly something. So when it's not flying conditions prepare RC. If you can't fly RC, never limit yourself to what you can fly. If you can fly, you go fly. That's the way I look at it.
Heck yeah. I've not been
You
looking
passed
at
the
the
red
chat.
Now, I
Let's see.
kind of took a book out of your page there, Kyle. I've decided that, like I said, my life's calling now is going to be a CFI. So I'm working my way through to be a powered
Yeah.
flight instructor.
Are you sure you want to go that route, man?
I am. I've dedicated myself to it. I want to be a flight instructor. I want to spend my time
In a hot
either on the air,
cockpit with a sweaty student
in the air.
talking about, don't kill us, don't kill us.
It's a Cessna 150 and get much more intimate.
That's right. You're always going to be a slightly bit more homosexual after you get out on one of those with somebody.
The fun
You
part
just
is
rubbed legs for a while.
it's always fun when you do the weight and balance to find out that you can't even put full tanks of fuel on it while you go somewhere. You got to run around with half tanks.
I told somebody that one time. I was giving them a ride in a 150, and I said, man, when after this flight, you're going to be gayer than you were before we started.
Yeah.
He gave me this look like, what? I was like, we're going to be rubbing legs, dude. Just push back. That's
Yeah.
my Cessna 150 joke of the day right there.
I'll make special not put on.
I could see your mouth
Apologize.
moving. I can't hear you.
How my internet's garbage. I have West Coast internet.
Fine.
Like
So
you,
say
I'm
again.
not at the. Let me try that over. I say, I always like to apologize ahead of time when I head up there and I haven't showered in the morning or got myself prepared properly.
Ooh, yeah, I learned to
showed up-
fly airplanes in I learned to fly. I signed up in the fall. No, it was the spring. It was still cool, but like the majority of learning the land and stuff like that, pattern work was hot, 100 degrees, South Arkansas. It's brutal, man. Those little pipers, I got the one little window that you can open up.
You throw the little scoop out.
Yeah, with the Cessna, you can open the window and put your arm out like a Jeep, man.
Well, see, our flight school doesn't allow it. The windows do open and the airplane is certified, but the flight school has a standing order says you cannot fly with the windows open and you cannot land off paved runways. So,
Well, don't tell them about it.
well, I got an instructor sitting next to me. It's hard to hide it.
Oh, well, yeah, there you go. I didn't say anything.
I got my medical scheduled for Friday and I'm hoping to solo on Monday.
I'm the reason that our airplane club established a rule that you can't land off airport. Yep, that was me.
That was me.
That was me. Sorry
I only bent one airplane, okay? I didn't bend them all.
Oh, I didn't bend it. I just landed in the riverbed.
Landed her in the riverbed. Any landing that doesn't hurt the pilot or the plane is a good one, all right?
Tail wheel sunk down in it pretty deep. We had to kind of stick it forward to get the tail up out of the dirt.
Drag your caster out of the sand maneuver.
That's right. That's right. I wonder how long that bearing lasted after that.
Well, if there was one, it's probably a brass bushing. You probably did all right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So what's up with the Dirty Bird, Kyle? We haven't seen that in a while. You still got some plans for that thing, or is it hit the shed?
Disassembled right now. It's still, the frame's still good. The swing arm connections were deforming, and I put it under in my test flight, I got to the high G portion to where I was pulling some higher Gs to see how it would take the load, and I was getting some deformation on the swing arm attachments. So I could redesign them, but at that point I had 3 or 4 other paramotors, and it was just a time thing. Like, do I invest the time in fixing this one or just fly these other 2 or 3 that I got? And what I think I'm going to do with it eventually is take it and set it up as a airboat. I'm going to make like a little airboat out of it. So the swing on, again, everything else was fine. The hoop's good. The tank's good. It's got the motor mounts for the 185, but I thought about setting it up as like an airboat on a little John boat and puttering around the water with it or something. So that's my thought.
You gotta ask Dave about their
Hey,
stupid
Kevin.
trike drag races. They were having trike drag races out there at the freaking
Oh shoot.
flying.
Kevin, can you hear me?
Yeah, buddy, go for it.
There you go. This is for you, buddy.
Oh, you're
Oh,
going.
so-
You better get me a freaking mustard burger on your way through there. If I don't get a mustard Whataburger, I don't get that.
I like the
I
lemon
miss it. I don't know if you
pies.
know, Kyle. I used to live over in your neck of the woods. I spent 2.5 years out there before I moved back to the West Coast.
Oh yeah.
Whataburger
Yeah,
is one
can
of
I
the
get
things
two
I miss.
large unsweet iced teas?
Here, we'll mute Dave for a second. while
And
he's
if
ordering.
it all matters, we're getting us an In-N-Out burger in the Salem, about a half hour south. So I'm gonna get back to my Southern California roots and have an In-N-Out here shortly. Like
I
that.
finally had an In-N-Out this year. That was my first time. I didn't realize Whataburgers weren't everywhere. I guess y'all don't have them out west.
No, we don't have them out west. No, I miss a Whataburger. Whataburger is a good alternative, I say.
Heck yeah.
Nothing like staying 3 hours for a Chick-fil-A though. You know, you get that Chick-fil-A line. You get stabbed.
Man, I like the In-N-Out burger.
It's not bad.
Just a
It's
better
not bad. I can see
McDonald's.
where you wouldn't want to do it all the time, but occasionally.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good when I ate there. It was just kind of a novelty thing, but I liked it.
No, that's it. It's a novelty thing. $3 for a hamburger and a soda, and it's good, but it's just a better McDonald's. That's all it is. It's not gourmet. It's just better McDonald's.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
When I was up in California, there was this place in Victorville. It was like a cross between Whataburger and In-N-Out. Man, it was good. I think it blew both these places away. I don't remember the name of it, but man, it was good. I used to get burgers and an iced tea before I go flying.
I don't know,
Yeah.
man. We got a local taco shop here. I got the owner on a first name basis, man. The El Pastor tacos are hard to pass up on.
That's what we had yesterday for lunch.
They're the real ones. They're the real ones too,
Yeah.
with the little dime-sized tacos. You got to take the two and elongate them, move the meat around. You know, none of that like Taco Bell style garbage. It's the
Oh
real.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. If you can order them in Spanish, you're at the right spot.
That's the one. That's it right there.
Now my Chick-fil-A story, all right, that's probably a good place to eat. But when I was in college, we had two places to eat on campus, like with the meal card. We had the Wigwam, which was your, heart attacks with cheese and pizza. And then there was the Chick-fil-A, which was your Chick-fil-A. And I must have eaten there thousands of times over like the 4 years that I was in the pre-pharmacy program there, before I was off campus, married in an apartment. But the first 3-4 years of college, I had Chick-fil-A almost daily. Like we would eat at one and then the other meal. And I had it so much that I just never have been back since. So that was
Burned out.
totally, man. Totally. It was, I messed up and told my shooting buddies about that when we were doing a lot of shooting. And every time I ever unzipped a bag or opened a box of ammo, there would be damn Chick-fil-A garbage in the pouch there. Like it was nonstop. Like,
that's
empty
funny.
fry bucket, a chicken wrapper. It's all the Chick-fil-A trash got hid in my bags and guns and stuff. It was great.
That's the outside pocket on my rucksack. It's just full of freaking fast food wrappers. Because when you get up to lunch, there's no trash can, so you just shove it in the side pocket and take off. By the time you get home, you forget it, and it's
Heck yeah.
fourth or fifth trip out. You finally throw it in the back seat of the car or something.
Yeah.
That's
I call
road trips in this truck. Is the
ballast.
passenger floorboard fills up.
Yeah. I keep a nice
No, it's
bag
ballast.
hanging
When
behind
you're
the
flying,
passenger
conditions get
seat so I
hot.
can reach back and ditch the trash there. But every now and then I'll have like somebody clean the car for me, and inevitably they'll take my trash bag and just remove the whole thing and throw it away instead of dumping it out and hanging it back up. And I never
Hey, Kyle,
think
there's
about
a
bringing another one out.
question. There's a question here in the comments that you and Dave would probably be best off to answer here. It says, are Blackhawk paramotors as bad as everyone reviews online, or is there something that someone would recommend? What's your
All
take on that?
paramotors are bad.
All of them break. Every one of
Yeah.
them break down.
Yeah, Blackhawk sucks. They all suck. There's
Vitarazi,
no good paramotors left in the world, man.
Vitarazi crack pipe. You got the Blackhawk breakdown. What else you got? The virus
They're
gets.
all gonna break. It's every motor I've ever had
I'll
had
do it.
something, and then every wing I've ever had was great.
So then the other question was for Dave. Was they were asking about the MacPara. What were your thoughts on grabbing a hold of that new MacPara you got?
I've only got about 3 hours on it. Here soon 4, probably here in a couple days when I get my butt down to Louisiana and go fly, if the weather clears up.
The Colorado specifically, I like that
Yeah.
wing. I flew 2 sizes in that wing. I've got maybe an hour amongst the 2 that I flew. I flew a 23 and a 25, and I liked it. I liked it.
Oh wait, MacPara, yeah, Colorado. I was thinking McFly, so I got the McFly and the Colorado. Colorado, I've got probably about 7 hours on, and I love it. I let's put it this way: my little A wing, my little Velocity Core 25 meter, that was my go-to. That's what I would fly. That's what I felt safe on. I haven't touched it since I got the Colorado. I love that Colorado. It's fast. It's stable. It's now fixed because I decided to clip a line on it on takeoff Sunday or Saturday. I love it. I'm gonna go take a sieve with it, and I'm gonna keep on flying it.
Hey guys, just so you pointed out, Dave Wolf just joined the chat. We say hi to Dave Wolf. How you doing?
Hey, Dave. I know that name from somewhere. I just can't place it.
He's that guy that gave head to the gorilla. I think it was.
Man, there was some shenanigans. There was some serious shenanigans. We've all got a lot of incriminating
situation
people.
here. My laptop battery has just a few % left.
That's why they make a plug that plugs into it. You got to
yeah,
plug it in.
I don't think I have a plug close enough in the studio here. Let's see, maybe.
All right, roll the music.
Stand by again. Here, let me not jerk these out.
Sorry, Dave. I love you. I had to flick you some shit for that gorilla. That you just got way too personal with that guy, buddy. And you put it public,
man.
so you know.
They've got video of me. Yeah, we've all got some pretty incriminating video of everybody, I'm sure. It was good times, man. Definitely good times. Our chemistry
is really good together.
Oh yeah, all 3 of us had them. In fact, during my live, I put one I put one over Nicole's head. Let me qualify that.
I was just gonna say, did Nicole and Reason come matching?
Well, I mean, Reason was there, and Nicole was there, and she kept us all in check pretty much.
You gotta have a mom around somewhere. You gotta keep you boys in.
Yeah, my truck and trailer got toilet papered. That was good times.
Oh, everybody be on the lookout. Dave is getting ready to post up a new video. He says he got a part 1 coming up, so be on the lookout for that.
Man, how did I know he was going to be the first one? That means I got to do some video work tonight.
You know, he says that we have to hear the story from you, Dave, about his last landing.
His last landing?
I just realized that I'm really happy that I have, pants on.
He says, ask him to tell about the last landing and epic finish.
Well, his takeoff, he was pulling the wing up great inflate, but it kept on falling off to the left. But it was some really rotary conditions. And then his landing, he landed, from what I remember of it and from what I saw of it, he landed and then taxied in. Oh, okay, I know what he's talking about. No, Dave, I'll save that for the video, man. Post that up on the video. That was good times. That was a good moment.
So the question is about Fresh Breeze. I have a little bit of experience with the Fresh Breeze. I think it's a decent unit for what it is. It's heavy. I think if you want to put it on a trike, you'd be better off with it. But like Kyle pointed out, all in all, the motor, it flies, it works, it's gonna break. That's my takeaway from Fresh Breeze.
All back motors, doesn't matter.
I don't like the source. Just like Flat Top, I don't like the source. If you got to get parts for it, you know who you got to contact, and that means you're talking to somebody who's either special or super. And those 2 words are something to avoid in this hobby. That's my takeaway. Anyway.
Now with Fresh Breeze, as with any engine or motor, there's pros and cons, man. I always say that a lot, but there's something to be said for that. I flew a Fresh Breeze for 2 years. It's, all the stuff that like the Captain Kirk dude says, all that stuff is true. But what
Yeah.
he's not saying though is that it's heavy as shit. Like the thing when you fill it up and put your gear on, you're like at 100 pounds.
Yeah, it's
All right.
89,
It's not
89 pounds
ergonomic.
dry.
The
Yeah.
harness is kind of big and floppy. It's like you're sitting in a lawn chair instead of in a harness, you know, like it's just not,
Well,
it's
that's
not,
how
it's
the
hard to
flat
get in
top
the
feels.
seats. It's yeah, again, more like you're flying a chair around than you've got
Yep.
something attached to you. It's more like you're sitting on something.
Hey, what's
Yeah,
up,
there.
buddy?
I sent an
Thanks, Kyle.
invite to David there.
Hey,
Yeah, we were
Hey,
talking
you.
about the pros and cons of the fresh breeze.
Oh, thank you.
Well, so the question is, what about engines specifically in preference? I mean, I think that in my takeaway, preference comes down to availability. So like we've discussed, everything's going to break. What you want is to be able to get parts and repair your unit. So
Yeah.
if you're getting something that's, you know,
no, it's Monday.
half from Craigslist, you have a hard time keeping it running and flying because it's going to break and you don't have parts. So anything middle of the road, Viterazzi, Bellini, those types are, you're going to get parts for them. That's going to be your best bet, I think.
Being a
I will-
machinist is kind of nice because you just make what you need. That's pretty handy.
I will say
Yesterday I
that,
needed a prop
Hey.
spacer, so I woke up and made a prop spacer, and then
I need a friend like you nearer by.
Hey guys. Hey, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm at the red building. We're gonna go have lunch. Kyle, I'll be seeing you here in a few days.
all right. Good
Kevin,
stuff.
great to see you. Dave, much love. We'll
Hey, buddy.
talk and post the wing thing. Don't tell anybody. Just post it.
that's not gonna be for like 3 weeks. That's my last video. I gotta
He sucks at keeping secrets. I'm sure I'm gonna
I
log off and he's gonna
I
tell
gotta
you.
tell him. Yeah, of course I will.
Drive safe, buddy. Enjoy your travels. It's nice being with you.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.
Be my
Later,
friend.
Dave.
So Fresh Breeze, speaking of that though, as far as availability, I gotta say that Chris over at Southern Skies, man, he gets out the parts right away to you. So he's pretty good about that.
But they're expensive. Oh,
They are expensive. The whole
God, they hurt. I
the whole
bought
sport is
I
expensive.
bought a couple parts one time. It sucked.
I
Well,
bought a
it's not
couple
expensive.
parts one time.
Yeah.
Oh, check this out. So I had
I'm gonna make that the title of my new video. I bought a couple of parts one time. Once, only once.
so I'm flying the Atom 80. I take off, and about 15 seconds into flight, my muffler just it disconnects, and and so I land down. The bracket holding the muffler on just snaps. The metal pieces just snaps.
The silencer, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
The top bracket, the metal snaps, not the bolts or anything like that. The metal snaps. So Dave came and picked me up, and I took it over to Travis, and he looked
Where
at
the
it.
hell does Viterazzi get their metal? That's what I want to know, because they need to go elsewhere.
I know.
Maybe
So he called
Pittsburgh or
over-
something. Like that Italian metal is not working out real well.
Sucks. It's but Travis called over to Eric, and Eric said, yeah, this is the third time he's heard of something like this happening. So it happened. I posted it on the Adam 80 Facebook page today, a picture of it, and just blew my mind away that this would, I mean, you can't pre-flight that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Hmm.
I don't know. So
Yeah, exactly. It's
So
sometimes
David
you might see a hairline crack forming, but usually
Yeah,
not. Usually it just
nothing.
forms and breaks.
it's brand new.
Yeah. Yeah.
New.
Are they gonna fix it up? Did you try a warranty claim?
I called I got a message out to the person I bought it from. I'm sure they will. And but
Yeah.
what did Travis do? He threw 6 zip ties on and said, "Go fly." I said, "Okay."
Yeah. That's what zip ties are for.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that.
If you don't have at least 3 or 4 zip ties on any paramotor, you're not doing it right. Yeah.
So Dave is sitting back at where we're all set up on our middle of the field, and I come in and I took the trike out. It was the last flight was yesterday morning. It was 47 degrees, and my son didn't want to go fly. So I came in and I landed and I taxied probably about 300 yards all the way back to where we were set up. Dave's sitting there just sitting all back in a chair having his cup of coffee, and I landed my wing and it came right over the back of his chair and just folded right on top of him. Couldn't have been more perfect. It's like I want to put that video out first, but it's the very last thing. So I'm gonna try to space out my videos about a week apart, and that's like
Yeah, the footage starts getting out of order. You start leapfrogging back and forth in time. It gets hectic. What I hate the most is when I make a video and then I find footage that would have been fantastic for that
Perfect.
video after the fact, and I'm like, oh, you suck at life, Kyle.
You find an SD card and you go check, you go, what is on this? And you go, oh, that's where that went. Oh, dang it. Might as well just delete it now and keep going.
I think that's what happened. I did a video where I landed on a sandbar on the river. And when I went to take off, like the file flipped over to the next one. I was missing an entire 11 minutes on the, and I think it was just maybe when I was copying and pasting, like that one got left out. So by the time I got to the edits, everything was deleted and I was just missing the file. That's probably my fumble, but like, you know, I was taking off and I was like fixing to fly under a bridge and I was talking about why that would be a dumbass thing and really good content, but I lost it. So
I just like you get to the point like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to get this thing posted. I gotta wait.
no, I've been more patient lately. I've got 4 or 5 videos already made that aren't even out yet. I'm trying to pace them so that I can get through the winter. I know we're fixing to come up on some dead stuff, and
that's
I
where
want to
I'm
put
at.
like 2 to 3 out a week, you know, just kind of on schedule, but as I'm making them, and I've got a video about that. I've not even taken off the camera yet, where I explain to the audience what's fixing to happen on the channel, but I've already started it. So
I was gonna do like every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I was like, okay, if I do one a week, that's good. But you're doing like more than that. Should I be? Do you think I should? I mean, if I've got it, should I punch it out or should I try to space it through the winter?
If you've got the content, man, put it up. You know, that's part of this is sharing it with the group. I mean, I personally don't care about my subs. I'd love to have more, but what I care about is sharing within this community. It's a lot of fun to get the comments.
2 weeks ago, I had like 3 or 4 videos out in 1 week, and people were calling me Dave Ruff. I was punching him out so fast. I'm like, wait, oh, that's the other guy. No, I got.
I think Dave finally slowed down. He was overloading us there for a moment.
That's the downside of having a name Dave or Mike. You fit right in with the other 10 million of them.
A few years ago, I uploaded 4 videos in one day. Like, nobody even blinked an eye. They was like, y'all don't even realize I did 4
you know, I bet your gen is like I sat down, I was editing this morning, and my wife comes down, she sits down, she goes, well, okay, goodbye. I said, what's wrong? She goes, I came over to, you just were gone for 4 days. I came over to spend time with you, and you're sitting there editing this friggin' video. Goodbye. I'm like, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I got this one great shot. I was having a fanboy moment looking for Jeff Goyne. And I walk over to Todd Scandra, and he's in there, he's kiting his wing. And I said, hey, buddy, you know, we're talking. I said, hey, have you seen Jeff Goyne? He goes, yeah, he's right next to us. He's kiting. I said, that's Jeff? He goes, yeah. I said, oh, I thought he'd be a lot better kiter than that. And he turns around and goes, what'd you say?
Yep.
I'm just kidding, man.
Yeah, Jeff's cool. I like Jeff.
He's awesome. We just sat out there and talked for like 15 minutes. Just hanging out.
You know, there's nothing worse though when you're standing on launch and you turn and you look at your buddy and you say something stupid like, well, I'm not going to end up in the bushes on this launch, and then you wind up in the bushes. You know, that kind of stuff is when it's primo.
Yeah, never call it. That's the trick.
Just anticipate the worst and hope for the best, right? When you tree land, Kyle, isn't that the way to do it? Going over the back?
Yeah, tree landings they're all different. They're generally everyone that I've witnessed looks terrible, but everybody seems to be okay in the end.
Oh, it ain't so bad.
Yeah. I mean, I've been around 6, 7 tree landings that I've been, you know, witnessed or been near, and everybody just had maybe a scratch or something, and like maybe a little damage, and then yeah, that's definitely usually what happens with trees. It's when people are trying to get down, if they're stuck high, that's when they typically get hurt. So that I've heard is when you unclip to get out of the tree and you fall that 20 feet down to the ground.
Falling out of the harness is the #1 injury when tree landings are happening.
Yeah. And
I got lucky when I did my tree landing. I didn't hurt my gear at all. I didn't put a single blemish on my wing. I don't know how I did that.
Wow.
I don't know how I managed, but I did not hurt my wing at all. I think it's because when my body impacted the ground was at the exact point that the line tension came taut. So the wing rested on top of the tree, and I descended through all the branches to wind up at the ground. So nothing came tight. And I think that's the only reason it didn't get damaged. But I was pretty sure when I dug my wing out that I was going to be putting patches on it.
See, when I landed in a tree, I grabbed that son of a bitch like a monkey and held on. And I rode the tree down, and the wing never felt anything.
I never let go of the toggles. I flew it all the way to the ground.
Yeah. I stalled it at the top of a little soft tree. I picked one that had limbs big enough I didn't think they would break. and not so big that it would be like hitting a wall. You know, I wanted to,
Yeah.
find one I could pole vault down, and that's
Mine
basically.
was a lesson I could share with the group, which is don't wear boots that have those hooks at the top for eyes. My Stabila line and brake line both got hung up in those little loops, and it just basically killed the whole right half of my wing. So I was launching with only half a wing, and I wound up just going full parachutal right down into the bushes off launch. And it was not fun. It was very scary. And like I said, the launch is a cliff. So I had about 8 feet between me and certain death at that point. So it was not a joke, and definitely something that I learned
But
from.
you could rewind that scenario slightly and go back to where your lines clear before you did an inflation.
When I did a forward launch, and when I stepped my right foot back, I stepped them right into the lines. So I was clear and good right until I pulled the wing up. And when I pulled it up, I pulled the lines right into my boots.
Yeah, when I set up for forwards, I usually throw a little pocket in the lines so that there's nowhere around my feet, just for that reason. You know, when I'm set, it's the setup that maybe was bad there.
It was, you know, I was too excited to get flying, and instead of taking proper time and doing it correctly, I rushed myself, and I paid the price for it.
That's when shit pops up the most is when you're hurrying and rushing. And I mean, moving fast is one thing, but if you're moving too fast is when you fumble. That's always the case in any situation.
You forget a leg strap, or you
I had an
forget
old
a
ass
chicken strap.
pharmacist teach me that before I was even a pilot. I was not even a licensed pharmacist yet. I was working at the store, and my dad was on vacation, and he had hired an older guy to come in, and he was just doing relief work, and we had some customers waiting. It was kind of busy, and I was like, I'm gonna hurry up and get this one. And he said, "Oh, there, son, hold on." He's about 80. He said, "The only thing you gonna do hurrying is hurry up and kill somebody." I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense, right?" He said, "Just do it at the speed you need to do it, and these people will be just fine."
The best
if you go
advice I
hurrying,
got,
you're gonna put some shit in the wrong bottle, and you're gonna
the best advice I got was slow is fast and fast is smooth. And if you want to do it tomorrow, you do it
slow
properly.
is smooth is fast.
There you go. That's the one. And when you do it properly, you mitigate all kinds of risks and dangers. When you get in a hurry, you overlook stuff and you get hurt, and stupid things happen. I watched a guy forget his leg straps the other day. Luckily enough, he had his red strap on. And he went off launch hanging from his red strap, which by the sound of his voice was not comfortable. He made back and top landed and got himself straightened out without any hurt, but it was one of them, don't be in a hurry.
We did that on a simulator one time. Tried to get in the harness without the leg straps, just pulled it up hanging by your arms, and it's hard. You got to flip around backwards and hook your legs on the lines and then scoot the harness underneath you. It's a bit
turn into a Russian gymnast to get in.
Exactly. Wow. And the whole time going off the mountain. One time I got twisted around in my harness, and it had done a front flip, and everything had done a somersault when I was getting set up. I didn't unclip the wing. I usually don't, but some in the pack up or the unpack, I'd flip the harness full somersault. And of course, when I got the lines laid out, everything looks right. It's clipped in properly. It never got unclipped. But when I pulled up and launched, I immediately noticed my brakes had resistance, and I looked and I saw what had happened. Both risers were 360, and I was like, damn. And so I just threw my brakes around, and that was fine. I had easy control, but my speed bar was wrapped, and all I had to do was like a backflip. Like if I just grabbed the risers and kicked my feet, but I couldn't make myself do it. I was too chicken shit to do a backflip on the.
That'd have been a video.
And I was like 50 feet away from the mountain too, in the thermal conditions. So, you would have to let go for a second. That may be all it takes to lose it. So there was some thought with it. But what I did was I climbed and I got some altitude. And then I unclipped the speed bar and just ran the speed bar and reclipped it, ran it around the riser so it wasn't snagging anymore. And I flew like a 20, 30 mile cross country after that. And with a full twist on each riser. It was exciting, but I couldn't make myself do a backflip though. I thought about it. I was like, I know I can't fall out, but
I've done it on the beach. I've done it at Kiwanda off of the dunes just for the sake of playing.
Smooth,
I've done it for playing, but I've never had to do it, flying. that would be a different story. I mean, you know,
Were you-
spinning around, doing riser spin ups and flying facing backwards, stuff like that. Looking at your buddy, that kind of stuff's fun. But
Kevin, you did a backflip. Were you able to do a forward flip to twist it back?
Yes, yeah, I
Oh,
did both
wow.
directions, and I find personally for me, the backflips are easier than flips because I can see once my head gets over, I can see where my feet are going. When I go
Right.
forward, I'm just throwing my feet over my head, and it's, you know, you're just kind of going for it at that point. At least that's how I do it. I just throw my feet
That's
out there and
incredible.
just see what happens.
Just like hanging out on the monkey bars on the playground, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, and then like I don't know if you guys ever do it, but I love pitch control. I love getting up and just playing with pitch control. I just sit there and work the brakes and then let them dump and let the wings surge. Get right to that point where you start to feel it front and then add some pressure and get back into it. I mean, just, you know, one guy told me, you know, it's not a race, it's a marathon. You just spend every single flight learning and doing something fun and new because it builds your skills for another scenario when you weren't prepared for it.
Great.
Heck
That's good advice.
So pitch control is one of the things I love to play with because if you know where your wing goes to stall and you know where your wing goes to front tuck, you got a real good idea about where and how far you can let it shape before you really get to pucker factor.
Stall recovery
And
is
then
pretty
when
good
you-
for that too. Doing some of that lately.
Well, your stalls, that video, your stalls you were doing, I mean, that was a little wild there, bud.
Yeah. I've got
I
some
know
more
you got
video coming.
experience playing in that pool, but watching you flip onto your back, go turtle at 4,000 feet was an interesting sight.
Yeah, it felt funny too. It tickled my gut.
It tickled your gut.
I think that was the thumbnail, but it tickles.
That's right.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
like one guy was saying, he says, you know, if you're going in the trees, you know, do you purposefully pitch to get it to hook in or whatever? Like one of the things that what my instructor taught me in the old days, if you know you're going in the trees, throw your reserve as well because you want as much laundry out there to hang you. But I guess that depends on the trees you're going in too. If they're low
Well, you can
level
use your
trees,
reserve
having
to
that-
do a retrieve. You could slide down your reserve.
you drop
to
it
get to
down,
the
yeah,
ground.
and then use it as a
Yeah.
belay. Yeah.
Probably the best advice I've ever heard about it is if you can pick your tree, if you've got time and the wherewithal to aim, you find the biggest, most lush, bushy one that you can, tall preferably, and you kind of fly straight at the trunk and just sort of land squared up so that your glider flies over the biggest part of the tree and sort of hugs it. That way the glider will catch you. You won't fall down the tree. And, it's the fall that really hurts you, not so much, flying into the tree or anything. But if you can
Kevin, I don't know
use
how
your
you got
glider
out
to
of
kind
that
of scoop
without
it
a
over
spread.
the top of the tree, then that's, of course, it's going to be a mess. You might wreck your gear, but that's technically the safest way to do a tree landing. If you
When
go
you
in
go
at
up
the
to
edge of
heavier,
it, maybe it clips some limbs, maybe it don't. Maybe you catch limbs and then it slides off and you fall. That's where you get really hurt. But if you can throw that glider over the biggest part of the tree, it's going to hold you and keep you from falling down. And again, everything's going to be wrecked. You'll be tangled to the hilt, but you'd be alive. That's the
do you
goal.
keep a tree kit in your free flight stuff, Kyle?
God, some of it, I guess, depends on what I've got. I've got
That's
one
some
in
of it.
one kit, but not in the other. It's just a roll of string. That's all it really is. You can pull up
Yeah,
a
I
rope
keep-
if you need to.
I keep dental floss and a knife in mine.
And the GPS communicator, that's probably your biggest rescue.
The spot?
No, I
The
use the
Spot or the
inReach
Garmin?
because you can
The
text
Garmin?
people on it. Yeah. Yeah. The spots, there were some failures with the spots. Some people got in a bind and
Pay
needed
for that?
help and the shit failed. It didn't work. So yeah,
How
I
did
use the,
Kevin, how did you possibly not tear up your wing when you flew into a tree? Because mine got just destroyed. I was
Yeah.
yanking out of the tree to get it down and just rip the hell out of it.
no, and it just fell down. It wasn't hung in the tree. I grabbed the tree and the
Oh, you-
glider kind of just flew over into it was kind of laying on top of some canopy. And then when I rode the tree down, I was basically on the ground. And when I let go of my tree, it popped back up. And
Oh,
then
gosh.
the glider was still up in the canopy and I got the lines and just gave them a tug. And
Yeah.
the glider just fell down on the ground beside me.
Yeah,
It was,
I got
yeah.
ripped. That's all right.
yeah, you flew your wing into the tree and the wing basically caught the tree.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
also though, because I was on the trike, the front axle got wedged between a couple branches, and that really is what held me up there.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the wing taking it. Don't you laugh at me. How dare you?
I've been there. I know how I can laugh, not because I'm laughing at you. I've sat there. I
With me.
feels like
I knew immediately I had a lucky break. I mean, it could have gone either way. I mean, I could have missed it. The limb could have broke. I could have fell down into the boulder field and been dead, but that was
Yeah.
something that I
I-
was aiming for on the way down. I was like, this could go
Yeah.
either way. So here we go. I
You're
had
right
the
about aiming for the
thought
trunk. And
process to tell some people. I had communicated while I was still high. I was like, look, I'm fitting to land in the trees back here. If y'all don't hear from me, come looking. And
Yeah.
I had people on the radio that like, okay, may the force be with you. And
Yeah.
you know,
I'd
yeah.
like to say
Yep,
I landed near the trunk of the tree, like you said, Kyle. But I'd like to say that I aimed it that way. But truth be told, my eyes were closed and I was screaming like a little girl. I know.
Yeah.
yep.
Now I think I saw yours. You were like trying, like you had cut yourself short and were trying to get away from them when you went into them, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to go into the. It was that or the
I mean,
school
that was a
bus.
little different when I guess Kevin's was too. You know, both of those were kind of like I had minutes to actually plan my assault, right? And like I was aiming and I did a perfect spot landing onto the limb that I was aiming for. And I flew into it and grabbed a hold of it like a damn spider monkey. And it was all went off exactly like I wanted it to. But I had minutes to think about it. And I was picking trees and flying around and like, okay, no, not that one. No, not that one. Oh, that one. No. And you know, by the time I had the one picked, I set up an approach, flew a downwind, a base, a final, and I came in and just nailed my, you know, when it counted, I nailed it. So
Yeah.
that was
I tell aviation is the only sport where you get to decide how you're going to die today.
that's right. That's right. It's
You
fun
got
stuff.
time.
Oh,
You got time to consider your impact point.
let's see. Oh,
Well,
I forgot to look at the chat now that
well,
I've switched over.
she wants to get the kids going. Make my way over to the kids and get that going.
Let's see if I can. I'm making some adjustments on my screen here. I
My
like to be
gorilla
able
got
to.
ripped up. My big gorilla, we had it blown up, and then Friday the winds were so strong, it ripped the one of the seams holding the gorilla foot down. So
no.
Chris, the bag lady, she's gonna fix it up for me. I told her, I said, take it on tour, take it to Palm Bay. It's in the family now. I'll get it from you at Bad Apples. Just have fun with it. But
You gotta get an old wing that you don't like anymore and put one toggle in each hand. Let him stand there and use the wing for lift.
that's a good idea. Actually, someone had Mark Ryder, who I drove down, he goes, let's get a blow up doll and stick in one of the hands. That way it looks like King Kong. I said, that is a brilliant idea. We will have to do that. That's awesome.
Yep.
But Kyle and Travis both flew through the arms before it got destroyed. I tried to, but I missed it. It was fun. It was
Heck
fun.
yeah.
We'll get it back up.
Proximity flying is
Yeah.
fun and dangerous at the same time.
Well, I got to get going. I got to go see a customer. But thanks for the invite, Kyle.
Heck yeah. I think I
I'm glad
might
you're feeling
go.
better. 3 hours ago, you sounded horrible. Now you sound like you're a new man.
I took medicine about the time I sat down here. It's kicked in at this point. So I'm
Yeah.
not as sniffly or coughy or
We all know laughter's the best medicine. We got Kyle laughing. He's feeling better.
There you go.
the cough syrup's kicked in now. So I'm feeling real good.
There you go. All right, guys. Have a great day. Talk to
Hey
you later.
man, good night.
Thanks.
Yep. I'm gonna get going too, Kyle. I gotta get with the wife and make sure I have a happy Monday. Otherwise, I'm gonna be in a sling of hurt. So
Heck yeah.
everybody, it's been a lot of
I'm gonna
fun.
look through the last 30 minutes of comments, I guess, and answer
last
some
30 minutes
questions,
of
and then I'll get
comments.
off of here too. Yeah, thanks for
All right,
coming
guys.
on. I feel like I can navigate this app a little better now. So
Thanks for having me. I'm gonna be trying to do one of these myself here regularly. So maybe we can do it again. I get you come on my side.
I'll get bored at some point for sure.
There you go.
It
We
is
always
winter
get
time.
bored doing something.
We'll call
We
it
get
wintertime
bored doing
live.
something. You have to go and make another video on that unicycle.
That's right. All right, man. See you, Kevin.
All right, buddy. You guys all have a great, wonderful week, and we'll talk with you soon.
Later. All right, let's look here. What are we cooking with? Let me back up to Yeah, there's no timestamps on these, so there we go. All right, it's just me and the internet again. I think maybe I figured it out, but I'm still a loser, so we only changed part of it. Anyone see Mark's girlfriend tree landing? Yeah, I saw that on the internet. Same mountain that I did a tree landing on that Elena did, and Mark. We've all landed in trees on that mountain. And I was on the backside though. They were on the front. Um, how to properly crash in a tree. Oh, I think we just talked about that, Chad. How to properly land in a tree. Vitamin C acetate. That doesn't sound healthy. Vinegar and vitamin C. And lead from street carts. What the hell's going on in the conversation here? Does getting your wing in a tree while getting dragged at the park count as a tree landing? Nope. Brandon, Kyle, are you planning on keeping this public after you're done streaming? Yeah, sure. Uh-oh. I did that. Changed my pre-flight. Slow down as much as possible. Da-da-da. I'm looking for questions, everybody, to see what all I missed. Everybody's talking about trees. Yeah, tree landings could go a lot of different ways. It's variable. Steve, we were in Spring Hill yesterday, Steve. We had south wind, so we didn't go to Gillum. It was great. It was magical. I wish you could have made it, sir. Break in Wednesday. That sounds good. It's going to be cold. Tacos were good. Tacos are always good. Kevin Collins, I want to come down to your school. Well, come on. Sounds fun. Para addicts here. What's up? Okay, I think I'm caught up. No questions. So yeah, I've think I'm gonna go lay back down, guys. Maybe maybe take a nap. I still am sick. The medicine is working, so hallelujah for that. Good drugs. Any other questions? I'll stay on here another second and see what's up. How do I know that I'm the best paramotor pilot in the world? Well, you can be because there's only one of those. Sorry. The spot is already taken, my friend. Degrees. Yep. All right, man. So, hey, a successful test. Still a loser, but I can navigate the internet better. So, we'll do like a proper live session one night. I might have some topics or something picked out. Who knows? Or I could just be blathering on as usual. We'll see how it goes, guys. Hopefully, this sickness is just like a 1 or 2 day thing and I will feel better. My head's still pretty much throbbing. I can feel it. I just don't care anymore. So that's good. I will catch you guys on the flip side, everybody. Much love. Kyle out.